Pre-show warm-up, the Convention Connection Show. I'm Tony Stevens, Director of Development with the American Council of the Blind, and so excited to be with everybody this morning on the eastern coast of the United States. But hey, you never know. Maybe we got someone listening around the world, so good evening, wherever you may be. This is going to be a great day. We got a lot of exciting things in store for our conference and convention today. We've got more voting. We're going to be hearing on some audio description, exciting stuff going on in that space, and recognizing those that have been doing outstanding work. I think we've got maybe Clark's up, our Director of Advocacy here from Washington, D.C. I had a chance to record some amazing scholarship winners. So we're going to be having those scholarship winners this morning as well for the science, engineering, and technology track. So it's some outstanding, amazing people. I was really humbled and privileged to do that. But the idea of the Convention Connect show is to have an opportunity to get us warmed up, to look ahead to the day, and maybe to talk to some friends along the way. So I'm going to ask Kelly here. We're waiting on Debbie to try to get the stream up and running. And so Debbie will hopefully hop back in soon. But Kelly, how has anybody joined in? We're looking for a Peter. And
I'm not seeing anybody aside from
nobody else. Right, okay.
We're having issues with our live stream on social media.
Okay, we're having issues with the live stream. So bear with us, everybody. It's been one of those kind of mornings. We actually had a cable person here this morning looking at our own connection. And it's a little bit nervous when it's half an hour before you're supposed to go live and there's no internet in your building. So, but luckily we were able to take that, get that taken care of. So what we've got in store today is a fantastic day. We're going to be having some guests, as I mentioned. Peter Tusick with Humanware is going to be joining us today. Tonight is the auction. So if you get a chance this evening, check out the auction at 7 p.m. this evening. There are some over 91 items are up for bid this year. Some fantastic items, and a number of those items are from Humanware, and it's a great chance to get some of the latest, newest, fanciest high-tech gadgets and equipment, things that can really help and improve your independence. So we are thankful for Humanware for sponsoring the Convention Connect show again this year, and Peter will be joining us in a few minutes, hopefully, and then Sam will as well. Now, it is exciting. Tonight was like the first night I had of some real sleep. We've been doing a lot to get ready for the convention. I want to take a minute as we're getting started for the show to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes while we're waiting on Peter to join. It really is an exciting opportunity that we have to be able to really bring this program to you and to bring the convention to you virtually. We miss being there in person. We're all so excited about Omaha. But at the same time, you know, it's usually a lot of work to get ready for convention. And then when convention hits, it's run. Everybody's busy, 24-hour days. We all know the routine for those that have been able to go to a real convention. The difference in this situation is all the work behind the scenes to get us to this point. You know, the packages that are videotaped, to be able to get the equipment, to be able to troubleshoot, to be able to test. And so I just want to take a minute to thank all those people that are working hard behind the scenes to make this show possible. Rick and Tim up in our Boston headquarters for the control room. That's where that's taking place, outside of Boston. We've got our crew here in Alexandria with Kelly and Sharon doing the digital daily newspaper. Clark and Eric holding down the helm, as well as Debbie, who's been helping out. That's huge help on the phones now to be able to you know, help in and jump in. So we have Debbie Brown now, who's new to our team here. We've got the team in Minneapolis, Nancy Marks Becker, along with Nancy Fila and Erica Keller, are doing outstanding work. They're the ones that are taking a lot of the calls, and Lane Waters working there as well. And then our contractors. We obviously have Debbie and the volunteers and Jeff Bishop and everybody working to help lift up the ACB Media Network and keep that running. And then on the community side, to Cindy and everybody else on that side that's out there working in Clubhouse, working the community events, and really helping to build the enthusiasm around an exciting conference and convention. So I want to be able to say thanks to them. And I know I forgot people because we literally have dozens and dozens and dozens of volunteers. And we're not kidding. It's a lot of hours that go into this, but it's fantastic when it's actually up and launching. So to that end, if you're looking to try to figure out how do I know what to check out, because we have 166 breakout sessions taking place this week, how do I know where to go and what to check out? The easiest way is to go to acbmedia.org/calendar. And Jeff Bishop and team have been doing an excellent job, and Debbie and them have been doing an excellent job of updating that calendar. It's a new thing we have this year, ACB Media Network. It's no longer ACB Radio, but go to acbmedianetwork.org/calendar. And that's going to pull up the calendar that's you can export it. You can do Just really break it down by track if you want to find out what's in the transportation, what's on the entertainment track, all the things, the health and wellness programs, the diabetes programs, all that stuff. Go to acbmedia.org/calendar, and you can find out everything that's going on in the convention. So we have tonight, again, the auction that's going to take place at 7 o'clock. That's our primetime show here on the ACB Media Network, on Media One if you're listening, or you can check us out on our YouTube, Facebook channels, and our stream. I need to thank Jennifer as well, who's working hard in our Savannah office. Jennifer Flatt, our new communications manager, is down at Savannah, and she is helping to help lead the way with our social media along with Kelly. So thanks everybody for getting engaged. Share, spread the news, spread the word. It's an excellent opportunity to try to get out there and share some of the great programming that you find interesting. If you know one person that finds it interesting as well, share it with them. So we're going to check in real quick to see if anybody else has joined the meeting. We still have no guests.
Debbie is on, and so is Peter.
All right. So we have Debbie and Peter now.
I finally got here. So
yay. Debbie, you're probably exhausted running the whole distance from the parking lot into the building. I know it's into our ACB Media Tower.
We need ACB skates.
We need that'd be great with a guide dog. You just kind of stand
That's
there.
right.
He pulls you around like a little wagon. But we're excited we have Peter on. Hey, Peter, good morning.
Tony, how are you doing? How's it going?
I am
everybody?
well, fantastic. How's life in Chicago right now? Is it too sweltery or?
It's a beautiful day. We're finally having a beautiful week. It's actually 80 something and sunny, and we are ready to. And that's because it's ACB. That's why.
Yay.
That's exactly why we have we have brought the good weather all over this country. I'd like to think that maybe in my own narcissistic way, I think that's true. At least it makes me feel better when I go to bed at night, but I know
it would if the we meant you, then that would be narcissistic. If it's we as an ACB, you're golden. So
well, that's good. Thanks. So what's up with Humanware? We're excited to have you all back on again as sponsors this year. What's going on with the
I think the main thing, Tony, is that everyone's going to be tired of hearing my voice because I've been kind of omnipresent over the weekend for a great kickoff. And it's been wonderful. So we're always glad to be a sponsor. We're thrilled to be back. We had a bunch of great sessions. Myself and Jeff Bishop, and I did some things with the BITS group. I had a wonderful Braille presentation on Friday afternoon, always being able to field questions, which has been awesome. A lot of folks have stopped by the booth to check out our 15% off discount stuff. So it's been busy, very busy. And we certainly want to be able to keep it going throughout the week. So we appreciate everyone stopping by. And I know Sam Adler will be on later to talk about what's going on low vision wise this evening, but it's been packed. It's been rocking.
Yeah, exciting, fun. We'll talk to us a little bit about, there's some opportunities for folks to bid on some great items. Some of it, the new tech. What's the big hot item? If we were at convention right now, what would have the longest line at your booth right now with people wanting to get their hands on?
Well, so we are always happy to contribute to the auction. So we do have a smattering of things there. The big deal this year is the BI X series Braille displays. We have been released the products in January and have been inundated with positivity. It's been amazing. I am totally blind. I've used these sorts of products for a long time. I've been with Humanware 6 years next week. So I'm at my 6-year poll, whatever that's good for. But it's, the X series displays have been very well received. We're pushing the envelope a bit on what a Braille display can do. And so the BI 20X, the BI 40X, I've kind of expounded on the differences over the last couple of days, but they've been very well received, and they certainly are something that has generated a tremendous amount of booth traffic. Surprisingly, the other piece, the embossers have been getting a lot of love. We certainly do index and enabling embossers, so that's been neat to see for those who, are using hard copy Braille. And it actually came up in the BITS presentation. We had a little bit of a conversation, myself and Ron Miller from Vispero, talking about the prevalence and need for hard copy Braille. So that's been neat to see. And, we encourage everyone. I mean, there's so many. I was looking at the auction items, not just from Humanware, but all of the various things contributed. It's incredible. So we're thrilled to be a part of it, but I would strongly recommend float by the booth. We are here every day, so today included, being Tuesday, from 10 to noon Eastern and from 2 to 4 Eastern. We will be here tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Please come through, say hi, talk to us, ask questions, ask more questions, and certainly we encourage you all to bid on items because it is a really neat opportunity to get a good price on some cool stuff.
Excellent. And if you go to acbconvention.org, click on the exhibit tab, and that's going to have what is the booth information to help figure out how people can actually pop in on a meeting and join you guys.
And for our booth, just so you know, there will be a registration. So I know it's been a bit of a tricky piece for certain certain users. So don't be scared. Don't let it shut you down. Just bear with it. You'll get a.
It's worth waiting in line.
Talk to
I'm
us.
sure, because there's just so many
Absolutely.
people that,
E-readers,
it would be
and it's
chaos.
Awesome.
Absolutely, and we're happy to talk with all of you.
Debbie, what was the first? I'm trying to think, like, when I just think of how the technology has come over the decades, because we had Matt Ader on with Vispero yesterday, and I remember when I first got my first JAWS, it was like 1988. It was like a 4-digit serial number. And then I use a Brailliant now, Brailliant 40 now. And I think of like the early Victors and stuff like that. When we think of just the arc of where we've come, like, what was one of your first tech devices that wasn't a Perkins Brailler?
Braille.
What was it? Was a Versa Braille?
Too.
Yeah.
But some people had the one, but I had a Braille note way back.
Yeah.
And I have the e-reader. That's Alabama was lucky to get 300. Oh man, and it's the one that you all made, so it's great.
And I'd like to quickly comment on that. And with the e-reader through NLS, I mean, we are, and I cannot say this enough, how neat it is to be a part of a project that is going to be able to put Braille displays in the hands of every single NLS patron in this country for free. That is a huge, huge deal.
It is.
And I think, it shows HumanWare's commitment to it. Obviously, NLS is the one doing this, and there are a couple of displays on offer. But HumanWare being able to play in this space, I've been so proud to work here because it's been a dream for blind people forever. It's certainly been something that, cost is very inhibitive on these things. It can really get in our way when we try to procure certain pieces of technology. And for NLS to do this, and for us to be a part of it, and it to be in live beta, and we have so many users, and the feedback has been super positive on the NLS e-reader as well. So please reach out to your states, get them involved. Don't be afraid, even if your state is not participating, to encourage your local library through the National Library Service. Encourage your library to participate and see if you can get your hands on one of these NLS e-readers.
Well, and that's the exciting thing is, and what I was wanting to try to get to is the arc at where we've come for cost and what you get now is incredible in the sense to think, I think of how bulky the equipment was, how minimalistic it was.
Did you ever use the old GPS products, Tony, where you had to wear a backpack full of seeds?
Yes. I mean, it was like, you felt like the Moon Man or something, like, like I was going to blast off or something. And it is incredible to think what you all have been doing too with like the GPS, even in the new one, and all that stuff. So check out the HumanWare booth. It's cool stuff. It's a lot of high tech.
To bringing down, bringing costs down. We certainly, it's a small field. We know, we try to put as much of our return back into new development. We've continued to develop, and we will continue to do so. Our, Gilles Pepin, who I'm sure many of you know, who's been the president of HumanWare for over 30 years. We've been around a long time. Has such a neat just drive and commitment to bring these things forward. I mean, when you talk about products, and he's the man. I mean, when you get into where he started as, in his background and how he wanted to make reading machines and his different ways of bringing these things forward, it's always been prevalent as HumanWare has walked through the last 3+ decades, and we're not going anywhere. We're definitely in this fabric, and we're so happy to be here. So it's going to be exciting as we go through. And there was just a major announcement a couple of weeks ago with APH developing a graphics display with multi-line Braille. So, we're really going to be pushing it into the future.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, again, I love what you mentioned about the whole NLS relationship, and really the idea that, this stuff was like space equipment. It seemed as costly 30 years ago as NASA equipment would have been.
Getting there.
And now it's exciting that it's, reach out to, that thanks to the work you all are doing and the ability to make great technology and figure out how to do it in efficiencies for lower costs and stuff. It's amazing. So the whole product line of what you guys are doing is exciting. So definitely go to the HumanWare. You can find them out at acbconvention.org and go to the exhibit tab and get information on how to register and talk to Peter or whomever else is manning or staffing the booth at that moment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tony. It's been a pleasure, and I will hopefully see all of you in the HumanWare booth. So thank you very much, and we again appreciate the opportunity, and we are all about partnerships all over the board. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah. All right. Debbie, we're back. It's
I
Tuesday.
know it. Wow. Is this the first Tuesday of the week or the second one?
I feel if it's like Groundhog's Day, I'm just glad like a couple of days ago was not Groundhog's Day, where that day was repeating itself.
Wow.
So
Well,
other
we
than our
have-
internet going out and everything. Yeah.
I know. And Jeff picked up the stream for me. I've got to take care of some other tech things, but we have two other guests, at least two that
Oh.
I know of. We have I heard
Fabulous.
Patty come in, and I heard Meryl come in.
All right. Well, let's talk with Patty for our mini mall minute. Hey,
Mhm.
Patty.
Hey,
Hey.
what's up?
Good
And
morning.
it's the third Tuesday of the week, I think.
Well, hopefully that means you guys have been moving a lot of stuff through mini mall.
Yes. I want to talk about today's Steal the Deal. It is our buckle messenger bag, and Samantha's my model today. And this messenger bag holds a 17-inch computer comfortably inside. It does have a zipper on the outside on the flap, which is pretty big. It goes all the way across it. When you raise the flap, there is a small organizer that has a slip pocket and a place for pens. And then there is the big main compartment inside. And that today it's originally $27. Today it is 20% off, and it will be $21.60. The
All right.
other bag that I want to feature right now is our backpack, our Haul It All backpack. And you can fit that same 17-inch computer inside the big main compartment, and it has it's padded on the back. In that main compartment, you can put who knows how much stuff. You can just keep stuffing it. It has outside pockets. It has a huge outside slip pocket, and it also has a keychain. But the other thing is you can keep your devices in the backpack, and you can listen to your music through this little port. And you can put your, you can put your wire through to charge your phone, to listen to your headphones if they're wired. And inside the pocket that is on, there is an organizer, a place for an iPad and your iPhone. So this backpack is amazing. I bought one right before we went to legislative seminar last year, and then we got this backpack, and I paid twice as much, and I didn't get as much room. And this backpack is $38. And we have other bags. I'll come back later and tell you about a couple more.
Fabulous. Thanks, Patty. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
our
this stuff
number-
is this stuff branded with our logo on it, or does it have the logo of the manufacturer, or?
No, this
Okay.
has ACB and the Braille dots underneath of it. It's
Mhm.
really big. That's on the backpack, and on the messenger bag, it is our full logo.
Okay.
Hey, good.
And
deal.
you can call us at 877-969-MALL. And that's 877-969-6255. We'd be happy to take your money.
Logical.
Yeah. I feel like I'm getting some protein, so I don't feel so bad about eating chocolate.
Exactly. It's like when I drink diet soda or something. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
you know,
right.
or when I
love
eat
it.
peanut butter, I'm a vegetarian. It's great.
That's right.
So I'm eating healthy.
Good deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard once protein if you're eating Jello. Okay. Good
Oh,
deal.
wow.
All right.
Well, we got another guest, I think, don't we?
do. Meryl Schechter is here. Hey,
Hi,
Meryl.
yes,
Meryl.
I'm here. Hi, Tony. Is
Good morning.
Sandra? Good morning. Is Sandra on yet? Because I sent her the Zoom
I
link.
did not hear her.
She's
come
not
in.
on yet. We'll know if she hops in. She can
Okay.
just hop right in. And
Okay.
But
Well,
we
So-
wanna talk to
even
her.
though,
well, let's talk with you for a minute. How's convention going?
oh, it's going awesome. I really love it. I'm learning so much every time. I just gained so much because last year, after I received the JP Morgan Chase Leadership Fellow Award, I've just been branching out and
You sure
doing a
have.
lot of different things, being the vice president of the state of Maryland and
Mm-hmm.
also on
You
our
had your
membership
state
committee of
convention.
our local chapter. and dealing with legislation. And then I got to attend for the first time virtually the World Blind Summit. Oh my God, that was just terrific. And when you see these countries, like for example, Asia and the continents like Asia and Europe, and they are so far advanced technologically with blind people, because there is an organization in Madrid called ONCE, ONCE. That's how you say it in like Castilian
Right.
Spanish. By the way,
It
I
sounds
speak.
like once in Jaws.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I speak French and Spanish fluently.
Oh, qué bueno.
Beautiful.
Gracias. But anyway, so I know that Sandra has gone with Oral Miller and other people to Madrid with some of the people from the International Relations Committee. And ONCE gets their money from the Spanish lottery, and they give out free computers and technology to people. I mean, I think that's amazing.
They do.
How do we do that with the Powerball? How do we get there?
I know. If we had something like that here, the lives of people would be transformed. I know several people in my chapter who cannot afford computers, and it is so sad because these people are so smart, and they have to, either dial on the phone when they listen to the convention, or whatever. They don't have access to Zoom, and it's very sad
Yeah.
because you
No, you're
gain
right.
so much when you're able to use the technology. It opens a lot of doors for you.
Well, that's where I
And-
feel that NLS is making a huge statement by coming forward with these e-readers and.
Yes,
Braille. Oh, my
yes.
goodness.
And it's just
Absolutely.
promoting Braille too.
It
I mean, it's just doing a
is.
great job.
Oh,
of just,
yes, yes,
No.
that is true. And also, I'm a proud member of BRL too. So
Me too.
Fabulous.
I love my Braille, and I requested the Braille program and I got it.
You bet.
Well, what do we got for international?
Well,
Is Sandra joined, or
we
if she has to hop on in,
actually-
Sandra? But
Actually, we have some very exciting stuff. I had heard an interview with Cindy House interviewing 5 international women, ACB in action. And I was very impressed with one of them, who is now a Zoom host, Melissa Sprouse, and she's from the United Arab Emirates.
oh
And
yeah,
actually, so I reached out to Cindy to ask for her email address. And I emailed her, and we've been emailing each other, and she's going to be talking. I'm going to be interviewing her and asking her some questions today.
You have a luncheon, don't you?
Yes, we do. That's going to be from actually 4 to 6:45. So we're going to have a lot of different events going on today.
cool.
And actually, we also have other people that will be speaking, and I think it's going to be really, really awesome.
Wonderful. Well, was that the main thing, you and Sandra? Was there anything else you think Sandra wanted to plug, or?
Well,
International Relations
one thing
Committee?
I am going to do, I'm going to be doing a tribute for, we're doing different tributes. So there's going to be a tribute for Denise Decker, who I knew from New York originally. And also, I am going to be doing a tribute for Josephine DeFaney, who I knew from New York. And she was a fearless advocate. And Sandra is going to talk about her contributions to the International Relations Committee.
Awesome. Yeah, Denise is on the Angels plate for today.
Yeah, I
I was
know.
putting together her thing today, and it's a lot of talk because she was so involved with audio description, but she worked a lot in Latin America and in aid,
Yes,
global
she
aid. So
did.
yeah, so that's
And I also knew her from the DC Council of the Blind, because I
Yeah,
have been a member for a while also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
well,
guys.
wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing that. And folks can go to acbmedia.org/calendar to find out the times and links for those, or the what channels
Yeah,
they'll be
it's gonna
streaming
on
on.
ACB Media 6, by the way.
Yeah, it
All
was
right.
in today's paper as
Mhm.
well.
Cool. Yep. If you got the daily digital daily,
Yeah.
you've got the link.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for joining us, Meryl.
You're welcome, Tony. My pleasure.
Keep Maryland good for me until I get back home on Saturday.
Oh, I
So,
will. I will.
Very
Thanks.
good.
Bye.
Mhm.
So, wow, it's almost time for general session.
It's like a race every day. We're
I
racing
know.
the general
And I
session.
was ahead of myself. I don't know why I'm thinking that Connect is at 9:30 and that general session is at 10, but it's, no.
We gave more time for the newspaper this year. So we wanted more
Yeah.
time for the read of the
Yeah,
newspaper.
and
So
I was trying to get in there to play some other, things for the day,
Mhm.
other announcements, because we have the auction tonight.
we do.
Wow, the
It's
Diamond
exciting.
Jubilee auction at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Although if we really want to win something, we shouldn't be telling people this. We should say,
I know.
no,
It's
no,
not
what
happening.
auction? No, I don't know
No,
anything about an
That's
auction.
right.
There is in no way a trip to a place to stay in Key West. It sounds like it's amazing.
And
Or
there's no cool food. You don't
oh,
want
there's
any of
no
that.
cool food. You don't want to go to the
It
auction. I mean,
wouldn't taste good,
come on, people.
no.
Nobody wants to go there. It's
And then,
with
yeah,
them.
you don't want
Please
any
go to the
tech
auction.
items.
Outdated.
No.
Yeah,
Also
so-
manual.
So-
Dosing.
Oh,
All
my
right.
goodness.
Is that you or who do we got live
It's
right now?
not
Someone else
me.
join us?
Hey.
Is that you, Sandra?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think we
All right.
really are at
Well, that's our alarm saying it's about time to be heading
Yeah.
back to Boston, I
at
guess.
Boston and
Huh?
to, yeah.
We get some
'cause it's
chatter.
Like less than
Oh,
2 minutes
thank you.
away.
I was nervous. but-
I think somebody didn't get muted.
oh,
Okay,
wait,
so I think we gotta go though.
Yeah, we're going to be heading out. What time we got? Let's see.
20, yeah. 2 minutes.
10:28. So I'll let you
Yep.
hop into the main theater room. Get a good seat, Debbie. I hope they let you
I
sit up
will.
front.
I'll
So
save you a seat with some extra
Think so.
M&Ms.
I'll be getting the popcorn. Are you the type
Alright.
that does the popcorn with the M&Ms? Before
Oh,
we go?
yeah, love it.
Yeah, my kids
Yeah,
love that.
gotta have the
All right.
chocolate and the salty. All right.
Have a great convention today,
Thank
Debbie. I'll talk to you
you.
later. Everybody,
Bet.
be well.
Everybody
We're going to be
enjoy.
signing off here from Alexandria in Washington, D.C.
Mm,
And have a fantastic rest of your day. Fantastic convention.
right.
And vote. I think there's going to be some votes today. So
Vote,
get those
yes,
numbers out.
vote.
Get your voting number IDs ready to go.
Just look for ballot in your email. Just look for an
Mhm.
email that says ballot and it'll take you right to it. You don't have to memorize that code or.
It's
or
so
log
easy.
in.
It's so easy. Yeah.
Real
So
easy. Yeah.
awesome. Debbie,
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. You bet.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right. We are out from Washington, D.C., passing the
We
torch up
are.
to Boston. So everybody be good. Have a great day. Have a great convention.
Welcome, ACB, back to the 2021 ACB Conference and Convention, Better Together Wherever We Are. Wanted to let everybody know today that this general session is being broadcast on our ACB Media Network, which can be heard across the country and around the world, thanks to our flagship ACB Media Internet station, ACB Media One. So welcome everybody. Boy, it seems like this convention just gets more exciting as we move from day to day. I wanted to remind everybody before we get through the formal, down through the formal agenda, that we will have elections today. So please make sure that you have your individual voter code ready to go, and we'll make the announcement when the individual vote will open up on Vote Now. Thank you all yesterday. It went very smooth and we appreciate all those that participated. Also want to take this opportunity to remind people that we have a wonderful Braille Forum raffle drawing that will take place Thursday night at our banquet, where you can win $5,000, $1,000, or $500. If you would like to buy a Braille Forum raffle ticket, they're going fast. There's less than 100 left out of the allotment of 500. Please contact the Minneapolis office at 612-332-3242. You can have an individual can buy the ticket for $50 or up to 5 people can share a ticket. So please get those raffle tickets. They're going fast. Also want to remind you that there's an opportunity to join the monthly monetary support program. That's a contribution you can make monthly to the American Council of the Blind and your favorite affiliate to help promote their programs and services. If you're interested in joining the monthly monetary support program, here's an email address you can use, which is askacbmms@gmail.com. Again, that's askacbmms@gmail.com. Or you can call and leave a message and they'll get back to you at the MMS phone number, which is 202-743-0755. Anything you could do to support our monthly monetary support program would be greatly appreciated. The goal is to get to 421 members by the time our convention ends today. 421 for 2021. So please consider joining the monthly monetary support program. And now I officially call day 5 of our ACB conference and convention to order. And I would like to introduce to you Isaac Hyman, our Ross Pangier Scholarship winner from the great state of Washington. Isa, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Isaac. And now I would like to introduce Tony Stevens, ACB Development Director from Baltimore, Maryland, to recognize our wonderful convention sponsors for this event. So Tony.
Stevens, Director of Development for the American Council of the Blind. I'm excited to share with you today our corporate sponsors for the 60th Annual ACB National Conference and Convention. So here we go. For our diamond sponsors, Microsoft, Google, JP Morgan Chase & Company, Comcast, and Facebook. For our emerald sponsors, Charter Spectrum, Vispero, Amazon, Verizon, Vanda Pharmaceutical. And for our Ruby sponsors, TrackPhone Wireless Incorporated, IRA, Waymo, National Cable and Telecom Association, AT&T, LinkedIn, Perkins School for the Blind, Cruise, and Adobe. For our Onyx sponsors, Democracy Live and Humanware. For our Coral sponsors, National Industries for the Blind, National Library Services, and Library Users of America. And for our walk sponsors, Macular Degeneration Foundation. And for our walk sponsors, the Macular Degeneration Foundation, National Industries for the Blind, and Vanda Pharmaceutical. Thanks to all of our corporate partners for supporting this year's conference and convention.
Thank you, Tony. What a wonderful group of sponsors, and we thank them so much for their contributions to the American Council of the Blind. Next, I'd like to introduce our officers and our board of directors that won elections yesterday by unanimous consent. And we didn't have a chance for them to address the membership, and I really think it's important to hear from our newly elected officials. So first, I would like to introduce our new second vice president and existing second vice president, Ray Campbell. So Ray.
Thank you, Dan. I guess it's kind of whatever is old is new again, maybe is how that would work. Good morning, ACB. And I just want to take a moment and thank you all for your renewed confidence in me. And I look forward to another 2 years of great work. This organization is really doing some great stuff, and I look forward to helping to lead that effort over the next 2 years, supporting our leadership team as best I possibly can. So thank you all, and I'm going to do my best to earn your confidence. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Ray. And next we'll hear from our ACB secretary, elected for her second term, Denise Colley. Denise may have some difficulty getting unmuted, so we'll give her a little time, and we'll move on to our ACB treasurer, David Trott, elected for his third term. David, congratulations.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, everybody, for your confidence in me. And I ask you now to join me in the next 2 years of growing our legacy endowment so that ACB can truly have a brighter future together. And we've done a great job so far. So let's don't stop the good work that we're doing. And I'm really excited to be a part of the leadership team once again. And just know that we're going to listen to you and that we're there for you. And thank you for your confidence.
Thank you so much, David. And again, congratulations. I'm still not hearing Denise, so we will move on to our newly elected, but finishing elected for his second term on the board, the American Council of the Blind Board of Directors, Jeff Bishop. Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you, Dan, very much. Good morning, everyone. I am deeply humbled and thankful for the opportunity that you've given me to be able to continue to serve in this organization. And I'm truly blessed with the opportunity that you've been giving me, and I'm thankful for that. We have a lot of work to do, and we need all of you to help us get there too. So in combination with our leadership team, as well as my efforts, I need your help as well. So we'll be asking and calling on many of you to lend us a hand. So please join me for the next 3 years to be able to achieve just tremendous great things in this organization. Again, sincerely, very, very much, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And I will work really hard to be able to achieve the things that you expect from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, and congratulations. I think what we'll do, Denise is our presenter tomorrow for the Wednesday session. So we will let Denise give her congratulatory remarks Wednesday before the candidate speeches on Wednesday. So just wanted to make sure that we get an opportunity to hear from Denise, and we apologize that she's having some technical difficulties. And now it's time for me to make an announcement as your ACB president. Deb Cook-Lewis, who was our Board of Publications chair, yesterday was elected to the position of first vice president of the American Council of the Blind, which means that as your president, I must appoint a new chair of the BOP. And I'm honored this morning to announce the appointment of Katie Frederick from Worthington, Ohio. She is the community manager for the International Association of Accessibility Professionals, IAAP. So Katie, thank you so much for taking on the position as our new BOP chair. Katie has worked for at least the last 5 years with the BOP, holding the position of chair of our Public Relations Committee and also working as the co-chair of the Public Awareness Steering Committee. So welcome, Katie, as our new BOP chair. I know you'll do an outstanding job. I also want to appoint for their first term, my second appointment to the Board of Publications. The president appoints the chair and one other BOP director, and then the other 3 BOP directors are elected, and they're on the slate for later on during our election process. But the other appointed BOP director will be Cheryl Cummings. Cheryl is the founder and executive director of the nonprofit Our Spaces, Our Places from Boston, Massachusetts. So welcome, Cheryl, to the Board of Publications. And at this time, I would be terribly remiss if I didn't give a huge hip, hip hooray and thank you to Deb Cook-Lewis for all the work she has done for the last 2 years leading our Board of Publications. So thank you, Deb, so much for all your service. And we're going to put you to work even more as our new first vice president. And Susan Glass, friend and colleague, I can't say enough of your service over the last 2 terms as an appointed member of the Board of Publications. Susan has always been there and has answered the bell for whatever ACB needed her to do. And I thank her so much for all of her efforts and accomplishments. Susan is going to move forward and really help us in the audio description area, helping coordinate our new journey to kind of complete all of our field visits with our grant that we do between the National Park Service, the University of Hawaii, and the American Council of Blind. So Susan, again, we thank you for all of your service, and we welcome you into your next role of responsibility within inside of ACB. So having made these appointments, what this does is Katie Frederick has now resigned her last year for her second term on the American Council of Blind Board of Directors. So this will open up a sixth Board of Directors position that will be elected during this annual business meeting. It will be for a one-year term, and following the roll call of our 5 Board of Directors positions that were announced in nominations, we will have a 6th position for a one-year term that will require nominations from the floor. So I just wanted to make sure as we move down through our Board of Directors elections today, that everybody knew the status of how many elections would be contested. At this point in time, it is time for us to start our candidate speeches for today. We have a contested election for the second ACB Board of Directors seat that needs to be filled. Out of nominating was presented from the nominating committee was Doug Powell from Falls Church, Virginia, retired marketing specialist. And nominated from the floor yesterday was Connie Sims, medical massage practitioner and health advocate from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So they are our two candidates for today, and they have submitted their speakers on behalf of their candidacy. So the two speakers for Doug Powell are Chris Hunsinker from Pennsylvania and Jeff Tom from California. And the two speakers for Connie Sims are Patrick Sheehan from Maryland and Sheila Young from Orlando. Because Doug came out of the nominating committee, his speakers will be the first to speak. Your speakers are entitled to a total of 5 minutes of speaking time. The first speaker for Doug is Chris Hunsinker. And the timer for this will be, I want to make sure they're available for us today, is Denise, our parliamentarian. Jolynn, or can you confirm that Denise is in the room?
Yes, our parliamentarian is in the room, yes.
Is in the room. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure. So our parliamentarian, Denise, will be the one that will do our official timing. Chris, you are the first person to speak for Doug Powell. Do you want any reminders of the amount of elapsed time as you give your remarks today?
How about a minute and a half?
You would like to be, you'd like it identified when we're in a minute and a half through your remarks. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I'd now like to introduce Chris Hunsinker from Pennsylvania to speak on the behalf of Doug Powell.
I want to ask for you to vote for Doug Powell because not only does he talk the talk that he put on his candidate webpage, but he walks the walk. I can tell you that with the Pennsylvania Council of the Blind, he has been our liaison between PCB and ACB, and he has been a wise and thoughtful person at our board meetings, asking questions that we might not have thought of, helping us think outside the box, helping us go to ACB for any help and assistance that we could possibly get from the national organization that we hadn't thought of. He also with the rehab task force, although he was the author of the paper on the state of vocational rehabilitation, et cetera, he, in a very collegial and collaborative way, took thoughts from all of us who were part of the rehab task force, and that helped him craft his document. It also made us feel comfortable talking about things that we thought were important that others might not have thought were important.
1.5.
Thank you. He also helped me, as the member of the task force, become more active, and I've actually taken on the co-chair position with him, which helps me ease into any leadership in that task force, since I'm sort of a newbie in the area. He demonstrates his commitment to change by working with the steering committees and the leadership committee of ACB, and the fact that his leadership group meets the same day as the rehab task force shows a true commitment and an amount of work that I don't know if I could do. He also, with the state of Virginia, has done so much in the voting and transportation and the accessible traffic signals and crosswalk area, that all of these activities could be no more than good for this organization. And that's what I have to say about why you should vote for Doug.
Thank you, Chris. I will now ask our parliamentarian how much time has elapsed, so we know how much time for our second speaker for Doug.
He has 2.5 minutes.
All right. I would now like to recognize Jeff Tom from California with 2.5 minutes to speak on behalf of Doug Powell.
Good morning, ACB. To me, the question of whether or not to vote for Doug Powell boils down to the answer to two other questions. The first is, do we want to retain an incumbent who's doing a good job? And my answer to that question, and I hope yours, is yes. The second is Doug Powell doing that good job? And I'm here to tell you that in my view, he definitely is. You've heard already from Chris a number of his activities. I will not go into detail about his work in his state and local affiliate, but I can vouch for that participation because I am the board liaison to Virginia. I hear of his activities. I hear him giving wise counsel to his state president and other officers. I know that he is doing a good job in the state of Virginia. I work with Doug on various steering committees. For example, on the ADP committee, he asks extraordinarily good questions and has gained a breadth of knowledge in a very short time that I find extremely admirable. He works on the advocacy steering committee through his leadership of the rehabilitation task force. And he played a prominent role in last year's leadership seminar. He is a true advocate for ACB and for all Americans who are blind or who have low vision. He works as the vice president of the Alliance on Aging and Vision Loss, newly elected vice president. Yes, there are times that Doug and I disagree. Oh, yes, we do. But we talk through our areas of disagreement and work toward compromise. On the board, Doug asks more questions than any board member I can think of, and those questions are good ones. He seeks to get to the bottom of things to make sure that his knowledge and our knowledge for our decision-making is as great as we can make it.
10 seconds.
He is always there to work on behalf of ACB, and I urge you to continue to have Doug Powell on the board of directors. Please vote for Doug. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for the speakers for Doug Powell. We now will hear for the speakers for Connie Sims. The first speaker is Patrick Sheehan from Maryland. The second will be Sheila Young from Florida. Patrick, would you like any time reminders before we start?
I'll take a reminder in 2 minutes.
Reminder at 2 minutes. Okay. All right, Pat, please start when you are ready.
Thank you very much. I am very pleased to speak for Connie Sims for a position on the board of directors. Connie joined the voting task force last year, and when she joined, she said, members of ACB have a voice, but I want to give them the vote. And thanks to the hard work of Connie Sims, we had an election yesterday that allowed us to have a vote total of over 900 people. That was due to a lot of hard work that Connie put forward on the voting task force. She worked to put over 30 Zoom sessions together. She worked with the major programs such as Tuesday Topics, Visibilities, the Advocacy Podcast, and Sunday Edition. She helped coordinate those calls. She also talked to the affiliates and talked to them about what was going on with respect to voting. She talked to the president's list about presidents about 5 times, but mostly she talked to the affiliates. Mostly she talked to the chapters, and she talked to the individuals. She wanted individuals to know what was going on with respect to voting. She spent a lot of time with them. She took care. She listened to them. She understood the program, and she discussed it with all of you. The Connie Sims that you listen to and you talk to is the same Connie Sims that we want on the board of directors. She understands what is going on. She takes the time to communicate, and she listens. Those are qualities that we want on the board of directors.
2 minutes.
This past year, she was able to secure the vote for ACB. And I would like us to return the favor and vote for Connie Sims. As far as the other efforts within ACB, Connie was asked to join the Health and Wellness Committee. As a medical massage practitioner, she has a lot of knowledge that she has given in that area, worked through Samford University to lecture individuals and also to produce documents that university has used. She wants to bring the medical knowledge back to the health and wellness group, which will be very effective for individuals all throughout this organization. She also has been a JP Morgan winner in 2020, and she is the president of South Dakota. She also has expertise in low vision. So she has a lot of qualities that ACB can use. Lastly, in the area of advocacy, when Senator John Thune, who is the ranking member of the Senate Transportation Committee, wants advice, he calls Connie, not his assistant, not his legislative aide. He talks to her because she's effective, efficient, knowledgeable, and he can trust the information that she gives. These are qualities that we need on the board of directors. Senator Thune understands that. I think ACB can understand that. She gave us the vote in 2021, and I would ask ACB to return the favor and elect her to the board of directors for this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. And now I'll do a time check from our parliamentarian. Denise, how much time does Connie Sims have left?
1 minute and 23 seconds.
1 minute and 23 seconds. So I will now introduce, Sheila Young from Orlando. You have 1 minute and 23 seconds. Would you like any time reminders, Sheila?
Yes, please. 15 seconds, if you would, Denise.
Okay, with 15 seconds remaining. Okay, Thank you. Go ahead and start whenever you're comfortable, Sheila.
Thank you. Good morning, ACB. I am so honored to be here to speak on behalf of Connie Sims. I have been fortunate to get to know her through our ACB President's Weekly calls. She is kind, gentle, and does everything with grace. She has worked so hard with our affiliates on our community calls, trying to educate our members on being able to do this voting, which has been just amazing. One thing we need on our board is more low vision desperately, and Connie brings that to the board. Her other wonderful qualification is she lives in a rural area of the country, and we have a huge population of our membership in Florida that live in rural areas, and they don't have the services that we have in big cities. So I believe Connie will assist us in trying to educate them and educate us on how we can reach those individuals to get them more involved in ACB. I hope that we will all support her. I think she would be a wonderful asset to ACB. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila, and thank you all our speakers for our election for the second position for the ACB Board of Directors between Doug Powell and Connie Sims. I will now turn it to myself and Nancy for introductions of Vote Now. Thank you, candidates and speakers, for your wonderful presentations this morning. Next, I would like to introduce Nancy Marks Becker, our Chief Financial Officer, also playing the role as our ACB election supervisor for our elections throughout this convention. So Nancy, could you please share with us some information about the upcoming in-person voting and how folks should stay connected through the Vote Now process?
I sure can, Dan. Thank you. So to vote for this election, you will need to go to the Vote Now website using the link you were provided, or to vote by phone, call 844-875-0261 and have your unique voter code ready also. If you need administrative help, call the Minneapolis office at 612-332-3242. The voting polls will close at 1:15 p.m. Eastern, 10:15 a.m. Pacific, and 7:15 a.m. Hawaiian time. You will be using the same unique voter code for elections all week because your ballot will be reset after each election has been completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And voting is now open for the 2021 conference and convention. Good luck, everyone. So again, just to repeat, our elections are now open. So if you would like to make your individual vote today, please use your code and access Vote Now, and let's get those votes rolling. So thank you, ACB, and good luck to both Doug Powell and Connie Sims. Next, I would like to introduce our corporate presenter for today, our convention sponsor. And I'd like to introduce Joel Moffett from Comcast. Joel is the project manager for accessibility at Comcast. And this is a CEC eligible session. So please use the opening code of 72046. Again, that's 72046. And now let's hear from Joel from Comcast.
Hello, ACB. Joel Moffett here, Principal Product Manager and Engagement Lead at Comcast for the accessibility team. It's great to be back here, so to speak, for ACB's 60th annual conference and convention. We're always happy to support such a great partner, continue to engage with the ACB headquarters, ACB National, and work on a lot of great things together and keep our pulse on what the blind community is really up to and wants out of our products and services and experiences. So always an awesome conference. Wish this was in person, but I think we've all been feeling the pandemic and this new way of working. And oddly, I'm, interacting a lot more with people virtually in person than maybe I was able to before the pandemic. So I think we all have our ups and downs with the way that these new situations have affected our lives. And of course, with Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate, there's an increased focus on inclusion, which is exciting. And it's an interesting process to watch unfold for folks who maybe haven't been in that mindset before. So I hope you're all seeing positive advancements along those lines as well. At Comcast, there's been a lot of space made for conversations about different dimensions of diversity, of course, race, but also disability kind of bubbling up in that conversation as well. And a big part of our mission as a team and of the company's mission is to bring disability and intersectionality really into that fold. So that's something I've been really enjoying. I hope you all have been as well, and just watching this all unfold. So before I jump in and kind of give you updates on what Comcast and Xfinity have been up to, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little description of myself and my background. So again, Joel Moffitt, Principal Product Manager and Engagement Lead for Comcast Accessibility. I'm a white male, he, him. I've got a nice short haircut, short brown hair, and rimless glasses. I do wear hearing aids, over-the-ear hearing aids here. I've got on a black t-shirt, and my background is pretty cool, I think. I'm here in my attic in Glenside, Pennsylvania, just north of our headquarters in Philadelphia. And behind me on the slope of my ceiling, I've got some of my favorite vinyl records hanging up there. You've got some, David Bowie, Aladdin Sane, Riddle of Steel, one of my favorite bands, The Clash, lots of good records up there. So it's been also interesting to be at home and surrounded by my kids and my family and everything. So hope everybody's hanging in there through all this and just discovering new things and moving forward. So getting back to Comcast and Xfinity and accessibility and inclusion, one great thing we've got coming up that we're really excited about is, of course, the Tokyo Olympics and having some described content there. So many of you will remember that back during the Rio Games, we began the process of describing some of the Olympic content, and we've continued that forward, and these Tokyo Games are no exception. So what we'll have is audio description available live on NBCSN and across all the broadcast channels. So the ceremonies and all the content that airs during prime time hours, that'll all include description. You'll be able to watch that live and grab that on demand. Of course, if you grab it on DVR, you'll have the description as well too. Now for the Paralympics as well, all the broadcast programming for the Paralympics, prime time or not, is going to feature audio description. So that's kind of leveling up there. We're really excited about that, to get outside of the primetime hours for the Paralympics in Tokyo. So those are coming up quickly here at the end of July and at the end of August. Now you can use the hashtag NBC Olympics A11Y, shorthand for accessibility there. So NBC Olympics A11Y, or hashtag NBC Paralympics A11Y, depending on which games you're talking about, to put your thoughts out there about the availability of this audio described content. So pretty excited about that. As always, we're trying to push into new types of content with description, while also bringing in shows and movies to our audio description collection. If you're an Xfinity customer and you've got Xfinity X1 or Xfinity Flex, with the voice remote, you can go ahead and say described shows into the remote, and then you find something to watch, and while you're watching it, you've just got to use the voice remote again and say audio description to turn it off or on. So making it really easy to get at that stuff without having to leave your viewing experience and then jump into settings and so on. That can be a real pain in the neck and really interrupt the flow of what you're watching. So a lot of that's not new news, but definitely relevant to your upcoming Olympic Games viewing experiences with audio description. In addition to that, we're going to have improved web content accessibility. That includes keyboard navigation and color contrast and support for screen readers available on NBCOlympics.com and the NBC Sports app. So that's new and better there for you. All of this audio description, and I should also mention that closed captions will be available on all Olympics content, regardless of where you're viewing it with NBC. That'll all be captioned, and all that audio description is going to be available to Comcast customers who are experiencing the games, of course, like I said, on X1 or Xfinity Stream or Xfinity Flex. Stream being our kind of second screen TV viewing experience, where you can dig into some live content and your on-demand content and your DVR content and so on. So that includes the live content for the Olympics delivered in 4K as well. So you get some nice video, but also some very nice audio with 4K. And as a reminder, those Tokyo Olympics are going to kick off on July 23rd. They go through August 8th, so be sure to check them out. And the Tokyo Paralympics will run from August 24th until September 5th. And those are on the networks of NBC Universal, NBCOlympics.com, and the NBC Sports app. So do be sure to check them out. And again, if you're using the voice remote, remember to lean on those voice commands. And if nothing else, remember that when you're using those platforms with the voice remote, just go ahead and you can press the B key on the remote or say accessibility as a voice command. And you're going to land on a collection page that includes settings for accessibility, includes tips on how to use them, includes ways to get in touch with help and support, and also content collections, including the way to get to the audio description collection. Of course, you can also say described shows to get there as well. And we'll have a nice, easy to get to collection within that to land you in the Olympic content. So nice and easy for you to go and check all this stuff out. So that's Olympics, always a big push for Comcast and NBC, always a great time in the summer. Another thing I'd like to kind of plug here, I mentioned that I'm the principal product manager. One product that I manage directly at Comcast is the Xfinity Adaptive Remote. So this remote, the initial kind of use case for it was really for folks with physical disabilities, folks who were maybe navigating with a keyboard or even with eye trackers, using their eyes for eye control or other assistive technologies. But what we landed on here is really a great web-based experience for controlling your Xfinity X1 experience on your TV. So think about it. For folks who are using assistive technologies, you can't really plug those directly into the set-top box, at least not yet, right, in a lot of cases. But what you can do is connect those assistive technologies that you know and love to your computer. So this is just another way for us to really meet customers where they are. So whatever assistive technology you're using, for many of us here, it's using a screen reader. You can leverage that with the Xfinity Adaptive Remote. And again, web-based experience has all the options, more or less, that the Xfinity voice remote has, including the voice feature. But what it also has is you can type in text commands instead of voice commands. That's relevant for folks who might not benefit from a voice to actually use voice control or can't speak clearly enough. So you can actually type in the commands that you need to type, or somebody using eye tracking can use an on-screen keyboard to type those in. But for those of us who are using screen readers or who just need the remote to be nice and big and backlit in front of them, this is a really great solution. So your screen reader is going to be able to step through that. Once you log in, if you go to xfin.tv/access, that's where you're going to find the Xfinity Adaptive Remote. That's xfin.tv/access. and you're just going to log in like you would log into any other Xfinity service, and boom, the remote's going to be there on the screen with all the features you need. You can navigate it with your keyboard and tab your way through with your screen reader. You can bring it up on your phone and use it with VoiceOver or TalkBack. So what I'd like to do really quick is give you guys really a nice pro insider sort of tip, kind of goes beyond the usual how-to stuff. But when it comes to the adaptive remote, what I can do for iOS users out there, I know many of us are. So in iOS, what you can do is you could dive into your iOS shortcuts app on iOS. You can go to add new shortcut, choose action, choose web, and then choose URL. So shortcuts app, add new, action, web, and then add a URL. So the URL you're going to add is xfin.tv/access. That's the adaptive remote, web application. And little known fact, for customers who are in a Cox market and have the Contour service, that's licensed from us. So it's the same product you're getting, just it's labeled for Cox Contour. You could put in webremote.cox.com to use the Cox web remote. It's the very same thing, just for Cox customers. So once you do that, you're going to have this shortcut for getting to the adaptive remote, which is pretty cool. What makes this even better is that step 2, you can go into iOS settings, then jump into accessibility, jump into VoiceOver settings there, and choose customize commands. Now, once you choose customize commands, you're going to go create new command, and then you can type in the phrase adaptive remote. So what that's going to do once you exit out of that is if you use Siri and you say adaptive remote, it's going to open up that URL in your browser and you'll have the adaptive remote right there in front of you. So I use this all the time. If I can't find the remote, I grab my iOS device and I just say, hey Siri, adaptive remote, and it fires on up and I can control my TV and I can use VoiceOver if I want to. Now, I have Usher syndrome, so I have significant vision loss and my central vision is pretty good though. So I don't always rely on VoiceOver and other text-to-speech or screen reader technologies. So just a quick pro tip, definitely check out the adaptive remote. Would love to get some feedback on how the blind community enjoys using it. Hopefully it's pretty useful. It's very simple and it works well with assistive technology. So check it out and, shout us out on Twitter or things like that. You can hashtag Comcast accessibility or do @Comcast and hashtag accessibility. And then that'll bubble up to us for sure. So yeah, those are a couple of things we have going on with the Olympics and that described audio content, audio description content rather, the adaptive remote. And just to kind of recap those things that are available in Flex and X1, you've got voice commands for pretty much everything. So you can say accessibility and get to that accessibility home screen, say audio description and turn audio description off and on. So any command or destination, you've got an easy way to get to that with a voice command, which is really pretty cool. A lot of folks love the Stream app. Using the Stream app with VoiceOver, it's really just the X1 experience in your pocket on the go, whether it's iOS or Android, and that can be really, really useful. So that's a little bit of what you can do with X1 and our entertainment products. Also want to mention, recently, back in the middle of June, we had our second annual Innovation for Inclusion Conference. So had some great content there. June 16th was primarily dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion. But of course, inclusion being what it is, disability and accessibility were part of, or at least mentioned in just about every session on that first day. And then the second day focused on accessibility. So you've got content there that really speaks to the expertise that's needed to roll out accessible solutions. So great conference. Those recordings of that conference are going to be going up pretty soon in the next week or two at comcastlabsconnect.com/inclusion-2021. So comcastlabsconnect.com/inclusion-2021. 2021. Spoiler alert, I had the pleasure of emceeing that second day, that accessibility day with all that great content, and it was a blast. I loved it. I loved enjoying everybody's authentic selves coming through, since everybody's coming to us virtually from home. Can be a little weird, obviously, but I think there's a lot to be said for how we are able to interact across like many different time zones all across the world and different backgrounds. It's really pretty cool. So that's our Inclusive Innovation Conference powered by Comcast Labs Connect. Definitely go check it out. The first day kicked off with, of all things, a panel of diverse professional skateboarders, including blind skater Dan Mancina, who was really a pleasure to work with. The first openly non-binary skateboarder, that's Leo Baker. The panel was moderated by Kim Woozy of Skate Like a Girl, and we had Zion Wright in there. He's a black skateboarder. I think he's like 20 years old, out of Jupiter, Florida, and he actually just clinched a spot to compete in the Olympics coming up. So you might be able to check out Zion, hopefully with some audio description. We'll see when that content airs. Also, among panels on that day, I had the pleasure of moderating a panel with the Disability Visibility Project's Alice Wong, all about intersectionality. So we had Dr. Jaypreet Birdie on there talking about her book, Hearing Happiness, talking about deafness cures through history. Also, Wanda Diaz Merced, the blind astrophysicist, who talked a little bit about many things we've ranged across in that panel, but talking, of course, about how she uses sonification to explore events happening in the cosmos with her job as an astrophysicist, after she began to lose her sight. Other great content on there. We have an AI for accessibility panel featuring Microsoft's Acb Sheikh, founder of the AI product that they have. Then also Bob McDonald from Google, Joel Rabaka from Signal, kind of leaning into the deaf community there. Able Gamers was there. Lots of great content. Please go check it out again at comcastlabsconnect.com/inclusion-2021. And in closing, I'll just talk a little bit about our support as always. So a couple new things are happening. You can obviously get a hold of our Accessibility Support Center as always, but these days we've rolled out Xfinity Assistant. Xfinity Assistant is great. We call it XA for short. That's available in the Xfinity My Account app, and also in what we now call our Xfinity app, which brings together aspects of smart home and managing your Wi-Fi network in the home and things like that. It's really becoming sort of the one-stop app for most of what you would want to do with your Xfinity experiences. So right in the upper right-hand corner, there's always in those apps a Xfinity Assistant logo, and that's what VoiceOver will likely speak out to you when you select it. So once you jump into Xfinity Assistant, which you can also access, by the way, by going to xfinity.com/assistant, you can type in things like accessibility or audio description, or I'm having trouble with audio description, or whatever it is. And we build out the structure and the AI and machine learning to understand those sorts of prompts and get you the information you need to get. And you don't find that in the chat, then you're going to be able to jump right into our accessibility COE per usual. And if you want to continue to learn about what we're up to on the Comcast accessibility team with our Xfinity products, I'd urge you to go check out corporate.comcast.com/accessibility and see all the latest stories that we've got there. And again, always happy to hear from folks, always happy to hear questions. If you want to reach out to our team, you can do that on social media using the appropriate hashtags and @Comcast, or you can go ahead and email accessibility@comcast.com. Once again, Joel Moffitt, Principal Product Manager for the Comcast Accessibility Team. Really proud and happy to be here once again with ACB. As always, an awesome partner. look forward to continuing to work with you all and hear from you all, and enjoy the rest of your awesome 60th annual conference.
Thank you, Joel, for those wonderful comments, and thank you so much for all that Comcast does as a valued partner for and with the American Council of the Blind. I'd also like to give a shout out to Tom Lukowski, Vice President of Accessibility at Comcast, that was a wonderful panelist in the fantastic session we had last night during our prime time, where we had 8 of the major streaming services around the world that presented in a discussion on audio description hosted by Carl Richardson. Just a wonderful panel, and thanks to Tom for participating in that event. Also, I have to give a huge shout out to NBC Universal for partnering with the American Council of the Blind to allow for a fully simulcast audio description, not there where you have to go get it anywhere else, audio description with the presentation, both with audio and video, that will be shown Friday night at the closing of our ACB conference and convention. That's right, at 8 o'clock Friday night, simulcast on ABC Media Network, you will see live, well, not live, but you will see prime time, the opening ceremonies for the 32nd Olympiad. Also, prior to that, there will be a wonderful pre-Olympic show, again, partnering with NBC Universal, to go behind the scenes and talk to folks who put together the audio description for the Olympics, and hearing from Paralympics and former Olympians about participating in the Olympics. So let's make Friday night the biggest watch party of blind and visually impaired people ever to witness an event. So ACB, friends and family, we're counting on you Friday night, and we really look forward to it. And Joel, thanks so much for your comments. The closing code for CECs for this event is 39924. So again, if you're getting CECs for this event, it's 39924. And now I want to take a minute and introduce our ACB Angels Tribute for today. You know, some of these are really personal, and these 2 individuals are really personal to me. I've had the opportunity over the last, years to work with both Denise Decker from Washington, D.C., and Bob Hachey from Boston, Massachusetts. So I'm very honored today and humbled to present Joel Snyder to read the tribute for Denise Colley, and Tony Stevens to read the tribute to Bob Hachey, 2 wonderful members of the American Council of the Blind, who we will never forget and always remember. And we really appreciate all their dedication to ACB. So now, Joel Snyder and Tony Stevens.
This is Dr. Joel Snyder, president of Audio Description Associates, LLC, based in the Washington, D.C. area, and the founder of, and senior consultant to, the American Council of the Blind's Audio Description Project. For those who may not know, audio description is a narrative technique that provides a verbal version of the visual, words that describe visual images and actions primarily for the benefit of people who are blind or have low vision. Denise Decker was a member of the project's steering committee and chair of the project's Performing Arts Museums and Parks subcommittee. Denise called me just a week before she passed to let me know that she wasn't feeling well and wouldn't be able to attend that evening's subcommittee conference call. At such a difficult time, Denise was thinking of others, of her responsibility to her colleagues, of her commitment to serve the community of audio description devotees. Earlier in the year, she demonstrated her eloquence on the topic in an interview on National Public Radio at their studios here in Washington. She and I were asked about the audio description developed in the UK for last year's Best Picture Academy Award winner, the subtitled Parasite. Denise responded with thoughtful insight, noting how the skilled, succinct use of language and expert vocal technique can provide more meaningful access to culture for people who are blind. Her tact and her firm defense of the importance of access has resulted in significant improvements in the accessibility of the 9/11 Museum in New York and myriad national park visitor centers across the country. Everyone who knew Denise knew her gentle, unassuming soul and her gracious way with others, always helping them to feel knowledgeable and appreciated. And most of all, I knew Denise as a champion, a valiant advocate for the rights of people with disabilities. She knew that disability exists only to the extent that the individual and the society at large acknowledges the individual's abilities and provides appropriate accommodations. With the inclusion of audio description at a performance or in a museum or at a national park site, a person who is blind is no longer disabled. He or she has access comparable to the sighted person who wants to know and be a part of our culture. Denise exemplified the notion that there is no good reason why a person with a physical disability must also be culturally disadvantaged. She is greatly missed by all who had the opportunity to be in her embrace.
Robert Hache, March 12, 1961 to September 14, 2020, from the Bay State Council of the Blind. A native of Massachusetts, Robert Bob Hache attended the Perkins School for the Blind, graduated from public high school, Boston College, and obtained his master's degree in business administration. Known for the passion he brought to everything he set his mind to, Bob served as president of the Bay State Council of the Blind, the ACB affiliate in Massachusetts, and as the editor of Baylines, its newsletter. Working from his apartment in Waltham, Massachusetts, which he shared with his life partner Donna McCarty, Bob served the council as the moderator of the ACBL email list. It was here that members learned of his ability to hold strong views and yet support others' rights to respectfully disagree with him and one another. Bob loved sports and was heard frequently on sports radio, giving his considerable statistical reasoning as to why the Red Sox were going to win the World Series and the New England Patriots the Super Bowl. Bob from Waltham will be missed by WEEI radio listeners in New England, as well as his ACB family. His ashes were spread to the winds along the mountains of Vermont and along the shores of Cape Cod, both places where he and Donna enjoyed spending leisure time. Bob, we will miss you.
I'm not hearing it anymore.
We don't get it in here. I've got it on my stream.
Okay, leave it on, if you don't mind leaving it
Yeah,
on
oh,
there,
no,
Janet.
I'll
That way I can hear it. Yeah.
Bob from Waltham will be missed by WEEI radio listeners in New England, as well as his ACB family. His ashes were spread to the winds along the mountains of Vermont and along the shores of Cape
Oh, that's
Cod.
nice.
All right. We are now, once again, I want to thank you so much. I want to again recognize Denise Decker and Bob Hache, our two angels and personal friends of mine. This is a very sad moment to reflect on their wonderful lives, but it is also an opportunity to remember them in such a nice way. So Denise and Bob, we appreciate all you did, and we will always remember you. Next, it is time for us to move on where there are affiliate roll call elections. Hopefully all affiliate delegates are in the affiliate Zoom room. And I would now like to turn the meeting over to our ACB secretary, Denise Colley from Lacey, Washington. Denise, look forward to the affiliate roll call for the election of between Doug Powell and Connie Sims for our second position for ACB Board of Directors. Denise.
Roll call.
All right, thank you, Rick. And just a moment of personal privilege. I want to apologize profusely to the membership. I was stuck in the other Zoom room when Dan called me and I couldn't get out of there. So I'll be happy to speak with you tomorrow. All right, so we're ready for the roll call for today. Alabama, 3 votes.
Alabama, 3 votes. Sims.
3 votes, Sims. Arizona, 2 votes. Arizona, 2 votes. Arkansas, 2 votes.
48 over 10 is
Arkansas. And we're doing Alabama through Georgia. So those are the first ones we'll be calling. Okay. California, 22 votes. Somebody's got a lot of noise in the background.
We are going to ask every affiliate to mute until you are close to your affiliate. We're getting a lot of feedback. Thank you.
Arizona, 2 votes. California, 22 votes. Arizona, 2 votes. So now we're getting an echo.
All right, now I found my unmute button. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, so California, I was waiting to see if Gabe got on, but he didn't. So 18 Powell, 4 Sims.
We're doing 18 Powell, 4 Sims.
Yes, thank you.
California. Colorado, 1 vote. Colorado. Connecticut, 1 vote. Connecticut.
Denise, I see people that have raised their hands. If you can, if we pass your affiliate, wait till we get to the end, and then I will look at whoever has that hand raised, and we'll go back to you guys. Okay, Denise.
Delaware, 1 vote. Delaware.
Delaware casts 1 vote for Doug Powell.
1 Powell. District of Columbia, 1 vote. District of Columbia.
You are muted. Mute your microphone or press and hold.
Florida, 25 votes.
8.
Now unmuted.
Florida.
Okay, audio now unmuted.
I'm sorry, Denise. I was unmuted and I muted because of all the background noise. 8 Powell, 17 Sims.
8 Powell, 17 Sims.
Yes, ma'am.
Georgia, 5 votes.
Georgia casts 4 votes for Connie Sims, 1 vote for Doug Powell.
1 Powell, 4 Sims.
Okay, audio now unmuted.
Okay, we will be doing Hawaii through Bay State.
Hawaii casts 3 votes for Connie Sims.
Damn. Just a second, guys.
Out there.
Audio now unmuted.
3 Sims, you said?
Correct. Hawaii 3 Sims.
Yeah, I'm almost the same time as you have. Cool.
I'm unmuted. Illinois.
Illinois, 2 Powell, 1 Sims.
2 Powell, 1 Sims.
Alert audio now unmuted.
Indiana, 4 votes.
Indiana casts 2 votes for Sims and 2 votes for Powell.
2 Powell, 2 Sims.
Correct.
Iowa, 3 votes. Iowa. Kansas, 3 votes.
Kansas, 2 votes Powell, 1 vote Sims.
2 Powell, 1 Sims.
Audio now unmuted.
Kentucky, 12 votes.
Kentucky casts 7.5 votes for Powell, 4.5 votes for Sims.
7.5 Powell, 4.5 Sims. Bluegrass, 3 votes.
Bluegrass, 3 votes. Sims.
3 Sims. Maine.
Wait.
Yeah.
What about Louisiana?
Just a minute, she's calling Louisiana.
Okay, I got you. I'm sorry. It jumped. I didn't forget you. Louisiana, 3 votes.
2 Powell, 1 Sims.
2 Powell, 1 Sims.
Thank you.
Maryland, 3 votes.
Maryland cast 3 votes Sims.
3 Sims. Michigan.
Michigan casts 2 votes Powell, 5 votes Sims.
2 Powell, 5 Sims.
Yes. Oh no, what happened?
Yeah, my computer's jumping. I'm sorry, guys. Bay State.
Massachusetts, 5 for Sims, 3 for Powell.
Come on, I need
3
to unmute. Come
Powell,
on.
5 Sims. Okay, and did we do Michigan? I'm sorry.
Yes, we voted.
Krista,
We voted 2 Powell, 5 Sims.
2 Powell, 5 Sims. Thank you.
Denise, can I confirm with Bay State 3 Powell, 5 Sims? Is that correct?
Yes, 5 for Sims, 3 for Powell.
Thank you.
And we are doing Michigan through North Dakota. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Minnesota, 3 votes.
Minnesota, 2.5 Powell, or 2.5 Sims, 0.5 Powell.
0.5 Powell, 2.5 Sims. Mississippi, 3 votes.
Audio now unmuted alert.
Mississippi,
Mississippi, 3 votes Powell.
3 Powell. Missouri, 22 votes.
Missouri cast 22 votes for Sims.
22 Sims. Nebraska, 1 vote.
Nebraska will cast 1 vote for Powell.
1 Powell. Oh, you're there, Jim. Huh. Nevada, 2 votes.
1 vote for Powell, 1 vote for Sims.
1 Powell, 1 Sims. New Jersey, 2 votes.
New Jersey, 2 votes for Doug Powell.
2 Powell. New York, 9 votes.
New York has 5 votes for Powell, 4 votes for Sims.
5 Powell, 4 Sims. North Carolina, 3
North
votes.
Carolina, North Carolina cast 3 votes for Sims.
3 Sims. North Dakota, 10 votes.
North Dakota, 6 Powell, 4 Sims.
6 Powell, 4 Sims. We will be doing Ohio through Wyoming.
Hold the audio now unmuted.
Ohio, 8 votes.
Ohio cast 3 votes for Powell, 5 votes for Sims.
3 Powell, 5 Sims. Oklahoma, 22 votes.
Oklahoma cast 7 for Powell and 15 for Sims.
7
Please.
Powell, 15 Sims.
Once you give your vote, kindly mute yourself, please.
Oregon, 5 votes.
Oregon casts 5 votes for Connie Sims.
5 Sims. Pennsylvania, 8 votes.
Pennsylvania casts its 8 votes for Doug Powell by Chris Hunsinker.
8 Powell. South Dakota, 3 votes.
South Dakota casts our 3 votes for our president, Connie Sims.
3 Sims. Tennessee, 5 votes.
4 Powell, 1 Sims.
4 Powell, 1 Sims. Texas, 12 votes.
Texas cast 8.5 for Powell and 3.5 for Sims.
8.5 Powell, 3.5 Sims. Utah, 18 votes.
Utah casts 10 votes for Powell, 8 votes for Sims.
10 Powell, 8 Sims. Vermont, 3 votes. Vermont. Virginia, 2 votes.
Virginia, 2 for Powell.
2 Powell. Washington, 17 votes.
Washington votes 13 Powell, 4 Sims.
13 Powell, 4 Sims. Mountain State, 2 votes.
Mountain State cast 2 votes for Doug Powell.
2 Powell. Wisconsin, 1 vote. Wisconsin. Wyoming, 1 vote. Oh, go ahead.
Wisconsin votes 1 vote Sims.
1 Sims for Wisconsin. Wyoming, 1 vote. Wyoming. All right, then we'll move on to the special interest affiliates, and we will be doing Alliance on Aging and Vision Loss through ACB students. So Alliance on Aging and Vision Loss, 3 votes.
2 votes Powell, 1 vote Sims.
2 Powell, 1 Sims. ACB teachers,
ACB
2 votes.
ACB teachers votes 1.5 for Powell, 0.5 Sims.
1.5 Powell, 0.5 Sims. Attorneys, 2 votes.
Avia votes 2 votes Powell.
2 Powell. ACB diabetics, 3 votes.
ACBDA casts all 3 votes for Connie Sims.
3 Sims. ACB families, 3 votes.
ACB families votes 2 Powell, 1 Sims.
2 Powell, 1 Sims. Government employees, 1 vote.
Government employees votes 1 Powell.
1 Powell. ACB Lions, 4 votes.
ACB Lions votes 2 votes, 2.5 votes Powell, and 1.5 votes Sims.
2.5 Powell, 1.5 Sims. ACB Next Generation, 3 votes.
ACB Next Generation will cast 2 votes for Doug Powell, 1 vote for Connie Sims.
2 Powell, 1 Sims. ACB Radio Amateurs, 1 vote.
ACB Radio Amateurs cast its vote for Doug Powell.
1 Powell. ACB Students, 2 votes.
ACB Students casts 0.5 votes for Powell and 1.5 for Connie Sims.
0.5 Powell, 1.5 Sims. And now we'll do the rest of the special interest affiliates. Blind Pride, 8 votes. Oh, and I'm sorry, Bits, 8 votes. Bits. 8
Bits
votes.
cast 3 votes Powell, 5 votes for Connie Sims.
3 Powell, 5 Sims. All right, now we'll do Blind Pride. 6 votes.
So Blind Pride is casting 2 votes for Doug Powell and 4 votes for Connie Sims.
2 Powell, 4 Sims.
Thank you.
Braille Revival League, 9 votes.
Braille Revival League cast 4.5 votes for Doug Powell and 4.5 votes for Connie Sims.
4.5 Powell, 4.5 Sims. CCLVI, 10 votes. CCLVI. Friends in
All right,
Art.
sorry, I was muted.
Friends in Art.
Hold on, Mike.
Votes.
Hold on, Mike.
3.
Hold on, Mike. Hold on, just a sec. Let's get CCLVI.
Yeah, CCLVI, 2 votes. 2 votes Powell, 8 votes Sims.
2 Powell, 8 Sims for CCLVI. Okay, Mike, Friends in Art.
Okay, 3 votes Powell, 1 vote Sims.
3 Powell, 1 Sims. Guide dog users, 15 votes.
Guide dog users, we cast 5 votes for Doug Powell and 10 votes for Connie Sims.
5 Powell, 10 Sims.
Yes.
Ivy, 2 votes.
Ivy casts its 2 votes for Doug Powell.
2 Powell. Library users, 7 votes.
4.5 Powell, 2.5 Sims.
4.5 Powell, 2.5 Sims. RSVA, 13 votes.
RSVA casts 13 votes for Doug Powell.
13 Powell. Viva, 1 vote.
Viva casts 1 vote for Doug Powell.
1 Powell. All right, now we'll go back to the ones we missed. Nancy, if you can help me with that, please. Nancy, are you there?
Oh, yes, sorry.
That's okay.
I was muted. Arizona.
The Arizona Council of the Blind cast 1 vote for Powell, 1 vote for Connie Sims.
1 Powell, 1 Sims.
Next is Arkansas.
Arkansas, 2 votes.
And I see that Sandra
Arkansas,
has
1 vote.
Go ahead.
Arkansas, 1 vote Powell, 1 vote Sims.
1 Powell, 1 Sims.
Colorado.
Colorado, 1 vote. Colorado. Okay, we'll go on.
Connecticut.
Connecticut, 1 vote.
I can't unmute. You're
No, you're
unmuted,
unmuted
Ellen.
now.
Oh,
You're
okay.
unmuted.
One vote Powell.
1 Powell. Thank you, Ellen.
District of Columbia.
District of Columbia has 1 vote.
District of Columbia cast 1 vote for Doug Powell.
1 Powell.
Iowa.
Iowa cast 0.5 Powell, 2.5 Sims.
0.5 Powell, 2.5 Sims.
Okay,
Is that everybody?
Did we have Vermont? I had somebody talking to me about this time. Did we have Vermont?
I don't think
No,
we did.
Vermont didn't vote.
Vermont did not.
Okay.
Vermont? Is that the last? Oh.
Okay. Wyoming.
Wyoming. Wyoming. Wyoming? Okay. Was that it?
Everyone else has cast their ballot.
Thank you. You special interest affiliates are good. Mr. Chair, that completes the call of the roll.
Colley, ACB Secretary, for the completion of the affiliate roll call. And we wish both our candidates, Doug Powell and Connie Sims, the best. Now it's my honor to turn over the remainder of today's program to Ray Campbell, Second Vice President of the American Council of the Blind from Glen Ellen, Illinois. Ray, welcome, and look forward to your presentations today.
Oh, okay, Dan, thank you very much, everyone. And we are running a little tight on time today, so we're probably not going to have time to take live questions. However, if you do have questions for any of our presenters today, you can send those to questions@acb.org. Just indicate who the question is for, which group, and we will get those to you, get those to the presenters at hand. All right. So since there's no such thing as a bad map, today we're going to hear from a couple of people with a company called Good Maps. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Mike May, Chief Evangelist. Hopefully he'll tell us what that means from Good Maps, and Evelyn Titchner, who is actually located in Nashville, Tennessee, to talk to us about what's going on with Good Maps. This is CEC eligible. Your opening code is 59631. Again, opening code 59631. And it gives me great pleasure to turn the floor over to Mike May and Evelyn Titchner. Go ahead.
All right, thanks, Ray. It's a pleasure and nice to be on here at ACB, and always appreciate your input over the years about transportation accessibility, because it's all together. I guess my leading comment would be the better we get around, the better we participate in life, recreation, career, and so forth. So that's really been my mission since I've been involved in accessible navigation for the last 25 years, starting at Arkenstone and then through my company, Sendero Group, and then with a few turns along the way, ended up working for Good Maps in Louisville, Kentucky, where Evelyn had preceded me there. Evelyn?
Hi guys, I'm Evelyn Titchner, and like Ray mentioned, I'm in Nashville. I've been working with Mike for the past 2 years now to work on our indoor navigation technology and to expand that out into the community, and to do a lot of events like these to advocate for accessible technology, and just to expand the awareness about Good Maps and our mission and where we're going.
Yeah, and we will show a video that encapsulates what we do. I really lament the days when I got to do these presentations in person, and they always followed the in-house presentation in a room with demos and exhibits, walking around, sometimes riding in a van, sometimes in pedestrian mode. We got to walk around and I showed you the technology. So I look forward to next year when we can get back to that again, particularly if you can see the new indoor navigation working. That's something that's pretty rare and unique. And as you know, when we go to conferences, we're always looking for what's new this year. And I tell you, if you could see it in person, you'd say, well, this is what's new, this navigation technique. Certainly going back quite a few years, I'm sure a lot of you remember the low vis guide at the ACB conferences and using beacons. And we've really been working on indoor navigation in different formats for a number of years. And that was one of the first iterations and a really good start. You got to start somewhere. Things aren't perfect. They aren't 100% accurate. You know, we're always evolving these things, but they do get better over time. And we have some new techniques that step beyond beacons that work with indoor navigation. I first want to say that Good Maps came out with its first app, iPhone and Android, in September of last year. And the real focus of that app was, let's cover the basics for outdoor navigation, and then let's also develop indoor navigation. So we've been working on both fronts. And the outdoor navigation, you can check out for yourself. Go to Good Maps, it's one word, Explore, in either of the stores. You can download that, try it, see what you think, and it covers a lot of the basics. Bearing in mind that this hasn't even been out a year, and it's not going to have all of the bells and whistles of Nearby Explorer and Seeing Eye GPS and Blind Square apps that have been around for quite a few years. They keep adding features as users request them. So we've covered the basics for outdoor navigation, realizing that these days, particularly if we're providing a free app, you can use multiple apps at once. You can run Blind Square and Good Maps Explorer together, or Seeing Eye GPS and Explore. You can run them along with Apple Maps or Google. The combination is often gives you the best of both worlds. Ray mentioned my title as Chief Evangelist, and despite the fact that I've been evangelizing accessible navigation for all these years, I think it's still an important role, because it doesn't matter which app you use. Really, the fact is using accessible tools and techniques is really a key factor, as I said, to life acuity, I guess I would call it. And so we have to keep promoting the fact that you don't get to know these tools unless you use them regularly, because as you know, we have so many things to work with. If you don't use them all the time, then you kind of forget the details, and they don't become a tool if they're kind of in the back pocket. So I have to say my evangelistic comments to begin with to just encourage everybody to get out there and use something. And with all of the outdoor apps, each one has some little thing that's different or better than the other thing, and some have their weaknesses. And as we know with accessible technology, everything has its strengths and weaknesses, and part of using the strengths of an app is to know the weaknesses. So let me, since I'm assuming most people are pretty familiar with outdoor navigation, we won't spend too much time on that, but I want to tell you some of the differences about navigating indoors, because there's similarities and there are differences. I think we'll have Evelyn fire up the general overview video first, so you'll have that overview, and then I'll drill down a bit more into some of the unique differences about indoor navigation and how that all works. So go ahead and fire that up, Evelyn.
Okay, and Jolyn, can you enable the screen sharing, please?
I think Rick can do that. Just a second, please.
And it's going to start out with our Good Maps logo. And I've always said that we've got lots of visual logos. There should be an accessible version of everybody's logo. So you'll hear our audio logo.
It's still showing host disabled participant screen sharing.
I've got screen share, but I don't think they're able to.
Maybe the security button that says allow participants.
Okay, that's fine. We'll give you the overview in person.
I'll post the video in the chat. So if you guys want to watch it from there after, that's a good option.
Yeah, don't click on it quite yet or we'll be competing. Yeah, and Evelyn, I'm going to make some comments here and then just chime in to fill in the blanks, as I know there will be some. So in terms of indoor navigation, let me talk about the unique experience of navigating indoors versus outdoors. We've said there are different techniques. There's beacons, and we're going to talk about our new technique. But first, I'll just tell you some of the fundamental differences. For one thing, indoors, you don't have streets. You don't really have grids. Sometimes you do indoors. You'll have hallways that are pretty much perpendicular, but they're not named. So that changes the whole dynamic of how you navigate. Oh, sounds like maybe something got enabled. So I'll just finish that comment, and then if we can, we'll go ahead and start it. So with indoor, you don't have... Sorry, we don't have street names, so that means your directions will be given in terms of relative to your position. So walk straight ahead, turn right, but it doesn't necessarily turn right on, it's not hallway 7 or hallway 8. It just says turn right, and because the accuracy is quite good, you're presumably in the right hallway, but they aren't named, which is quite different. The points of interest, however, are pretty much the same as outdoors, where you have businesses and other things outdoors. Indoors, you're going to have offices, reception desk, elevator, escalators. So in most ways, the points of interest indoor are handled in very much the same as outdoors. Of course, the accuracy indoors is quite different because outdoors, GPS quotes 30-foot accuracy. Indoors, this was one of the issues with beacons, is that the accuracy could really vary from 5 feet to 50 feet. Depended a lot on those spurious Bluetooth signals that could be blocked by people and change the accuracy. So if you're trying to tell somebody to go in a doorway or turn on in a hallway, it's pretty hard if your accuracy is that variable. So that's really key indoors. You can't have 30-foot accuracy. You really need to have, let's say, 5-foot accuracy to be really viable. With that said, I'd say some navigation is better than none, but it is good to at least try to get in that 5-foot accuracy range. I'll just check in here real quickly. I assume we still don't have the screen share, right?
No, that was switched over. So
okay, I heard something in my earpiece for a second. There's also multiple purposes of indoor navigation. And this is a really nice thing because this is why GPS became viable. It isn't something we could have had as blind people if sighted people didn't also need it. All consumers benefited from it, and therefore it took off commercially. There were lots of companies making maps and making receivers, and so it became quite viable. This is the case indoors. It's really important that it's not just for accessibility, otherwise it won't be cheap enough and it won't be widespread in different buildings. So the multiple purposes include what we refer to as asset tracking. So if you're in a hospital and they have 50 different medical carts, they can get lost, they can end up in a closet where they can't find it. If you can have a map and then you put a tracker, like the things we have, tiles and other kinds of trackers, air tags. You put those on your equipment, now you can track them because you have an accurate map around the whole hospital. We also have first responder and emergency kinds of issues when there's trouble in a building or a fire or something. It's important that the rooms are mapped. And certainly with first responders, when they go in, knowing they're going into a building they've never seen before, it's important that they have an accurate map. So in promoting indoor navigation, we have all these multiple purposes, which means that it's much more attractive for the venues to install. And that is the model that we're really focusing on at Good Maps, that the venues pay for the mapping. Therefore, the actual app is free to everybody, to blind people, to anybody that uses it. The Explore app is free. And the venue owner then pays for it. Of course, the important thing from an economic standpoint is that the mapping is cheap enough and it has enough value that venue owners can justify it, because they will be driven somewhat by accessibility demands. But as we all know, there's ADA requirements, but there isn't necessarily funding to back up those ADA requirements. Therefore, somebody doesn't necessarily have to have a fully accessible grocery store or airport. You know, they have workarounds, like they'll have somebody guide you, and that's not my version of independent travel, but it's, you know, you have to work with what you have to begin with. In terms of multiple uses, I guess other places, I'll just mention some of the places that we've really seen a lot of traction in with universities. Students go to a campus for the first time, they change classes every quarter, they have to get a new route. And so if you have the indoor buildings, or at least some of the key buildings mapped, and you have outdoor, the campus navigation is something that's really valuable. Airports, of course, are important. I mean, there's ways to navigate airport. We've always done these things with or without technology. It just gets easier and more independent as more tools come about. So in an airport, there's a nice combination of tools, which is using an indoor navigation capability, but you can also use something like Be My Eyes or Ira. And with all of these tools, they have their weaknesses. So what's the weakness of a navigation app? Well, it gets you near the destination, but it doesn't always guide you right in the door, or right, you know, outside we know it'll get you to the building, but where's the door? Well, you can call up Ira or Be My Eyes and get some eyeballs to, through your camera, direct you to the doorway. And so this is a nice combination indoors. For example, in an airport, you could navigate to the gate, and then maybe once you get to the gate, you call up what we like to call a human in the loop, visual service, and you can point your camera around and find out what businesses are nearby, restaurants, coffee, or where the gate is, or where the exact counter is at the gate. That final, closing that final few feet is really critical, and that's where the combination of these tools comes in handy. Evelyn, I'll just break here and let you fill in anything that you'd like to contribute.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say to expand on Mike talking about the technology itself, we're working with a variety of different types of buildings. So our goal is to expand. I mean, you know, anywhere could really use this technology if it's a public space. So we're working with transit agencies, government buildings, universities and colleges. We've got, we're working to get some shopping malls, some grocery store locations. So as you can imagine, there's so many different types of buildings that this could be utilized in, and indoor navigation is so critical for everyone. So that's a big part of our rollout right now. And with the technology being fairly new within the past year, and, you know, COVID hitting us and having to be indoors to use the technology, we're really in the process of expanding and advocating for the technology within different communities across the country. I would also say we've expanded recently to CNIB. We're working with CNIB in Canada. So we've recently expanded to Canada and the UK, and hoping to come into other countries in the upcoming months as part of our overall initiative.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of buildings mapped yet. There's a lot in Louisville, but other places are coming online, and we hope to expand to some other English-speaking countries. And if anybody has any contacts in their local community or building that you'd like to see mapped, we'd love to hear from you, because it's pretty easy to get them a quote and talk to them about the benefits of doing this for accessibility and other reasons. I should mention the technology itself. So what's different about this versus the previous beacons is we really wanted to have something that has no infrastructure development. So that's the beauty of GPS outdoors. Nobody has to install anything. It's just based on your phone. You carry it around, it has a GPS receiver, picks up the satellites, you can use it anywhere. Well, indoors, it's a little bit different because there aren't maps yet. So we have to map things. When the way we go about mapping them is we come into the building, our mapper has a big backpack on with LiDAR, which is what you've heard about Google using for years, mapping streets, and those were mounted on big vans. This is in a backpack now, it's a smaller version, much more powerful than what you have in the phones, but it is a reasonable size, so a guy can walk around with it in a pack. There's also a camera turret that's spinning around and taking imagery of the building. So once we walk through a building, and our time to scan it is roughly the time that it would take to walk up and down every hallway and go into every room that's going to be on the map. And that data is all captured and then converted into an image format that is able to be referenced, georeferenced by your phone. So when your camera picks up whatever it sees around you, it finds the equivalent of that in this cloud image and knows where you are. So it's pretty impressive when you can walk along with your camera out, so it has to be viewing the environment in a pocket, in a lanyard, or in a pouch, and it picks up the environment and compares it against the cloud and then gives you the turn-by-turn information. Not just your destination is at 11 o'clock, 300 feet. It's going to tell you where to turn, including the integration of elevators or escalators or stairs that you have to deal with if it's on another floor. So that's the brief summary of how the technology works, and it has this huge advantage of not having to install hardware. Therefore, there's less to maintain, and there's a lower cost to the venue owner. Evelyn, I think we probably just have a couple minutes here. Anything else we want to add to the group?
You covered the technology, you've covered, the one thing I would say is, since we didn't get to show the video, is there a way that we can share that with the participants? Because I didn't see the chat enabled on here.
All the audio now unmuted.
Hi, this is Janet, the convention coordinator. Yes, if you want to send me the slides and the information, we can put it up on our website. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and another thing I should mention is, since the venue owners are paying for these maps, if any other program like Blind Square or CNI or any of the others want to use the data, we will provide that to them at no charge. So we realize people want to use their favorite app, and so we want to facilitate that by making the map data that we accumulate free. And since there's a huge project in trying to get things mapped, that's really important. We also want to leverage maps created by other vendors. And so we're working with a number of different organizations to try to take advantage of, for example, there's 150 airports that are mapped, and we want to be able to leverage the data that's already been accumulated without having to go in and go to the expense of doing that ourselves. I think that covers things pretty well, unless Ray has any other things I should touch on. And we'll just give you the check us out information, which is goodmaps.com. Goodmaps, GOODMAPS.com, for all the relevant videos and links and audio tutorials and podcasts that have been on the app.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike and Evelyn, for that presentation. My second favorite indoor navigation is the one that gets me to the bar. My first is the one that helps me crawl from the bar back to my hotel room, wherever I need to go afterwards. So.
All right. Well, another time I'll tell you about the People Finder app.
Okay.
That's always been my favorite thing, which would apply exactly to what you're doing.
Ray, it sounds like you need to come to Nashville then. That's right up your alley.
Nashville's definitely on my bucket list. I've been to the Opry once, so definitely have to do that again. Anyway, thank you both. Excellent presentation. Appreciate it very much. And if you have questions, you can send those to questions@acb.org. Indicate that they're for Mike or Evelyn or Good Maps, and we'll get those to those fine folks. And as Janet said, we'll get the video link and up to the website so you can check that out. Let me give you the closing code for this session. That closing code for CECs is 22913. One more time, that closing code 22913. All right. So, a primary work that ACB does, as most of you know, is advocacy. And to talk with us for a few minutes about what ACB is doing in the advocacy space, it gives me great pleasure to turn the podium over to Clark Rockfall, our Director of Advocacy and Governmental Affairs, and Swatha Nandakumar, who is our recently hired Advocacy and Outreach Specialist. So they're going to talk with us for a few minutes. This also is CEC eligible. So your opening code for this session is 36451. Again, that's 36451. Without further ado, Clark and Swatha, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Ray, thank you so much. And hello, ACB. It's a pleasure to be with you here on Zoom, streaming live over ACB's social media channels, and of course, the new ACB Media Network. I am Clark Rockfall, ACB's Director of Advocacy and Governmental Affairs, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this live convention edition of the ACB Advocacy Update. I am joined by a new co-host at this year's our 60th anniversary conference and convention. And that is our new to ACB Advocacy and Outreach Specialist, Swatha Nandakumar. Swatha, welcome.
Hi, Clark. Hey, ACB. Yeah, I'm Swatha Nandakumar. I am the Advocacy and Outreach Specialist for ACB. I am from the suburbs of Chicago, and what I do here is I engage with ACB, engage with the broader disability community, as well as our members to kind of move ACB's agenda forward and work on government affairs with Clark. So, yeah, hello.
Yes, and as Swatha mentioned, we are your advocacy, governmental affairs, and outreach team. So if it involves working with Congress on public policy or communicating with federal agencies on regulations, reaching out with the cross-disability community on the national level, or collaborating with our corporate partners. So many we've heard from thus far this week, and many more to come. We are your one-stop shop. And as always, our phone lines are open, our emails are open. So if there is an advocacy issue that you would like to bring to the attention of ACB, you can always reach us at advocacy@acb.org. Again, that email address is advocacy@acb.org. Swatha and I, we are only two people, but we are fortunate that we do not have to carry the weight of all of ACB's advocacy efforts alone. A big thank you to the ACB leaders and board, as well as Jeff Tom, our Advocacy Steering Committee Chair, as well as the chairs of all of ACB's other advocacy committees for your initiative, your flexibility and integrity and collaboration, everything that makes ACB's advocacy work possible. But also, we have partners outside of ACB who are staunch allies for our work. And one of them, we have a short video to share how important the advocacy work that we do. So if you all wouldn't mind indulging me, and please welcome the Honorable Senator Shelley Moore Capito, Senator from the Mountain State of West Virginia.
Thank you for the introduction, Clark. Thank you for inviting me to be part of the 2021 American Council for the Blind Convention this year. It is truly an honor to speak to you all today as ACB celebrates its 60th anniversary. Congratulations on the occasion and all that you have accomplished over the years. Throughout the next week, I hope you are able to feel the sense of community cultivated by this conference. I love your motto, better together wherever we are. The strength and support that we can create for one another is invaluable, and this support gives each of you the courage, trust, and the confidence you need to try new things and live each day to the fullest. Since coming to Congress, I have advocated for increased access to resources and educational opportunities for individuals who are visually impaired. Just this year, I helped reintroduce Alice Cogswell and Ann Sullivan Macy Act, or better known as the Cogswell-Macy Act. This legislation would strengthen the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and ensure that students who are visually impaired would receive the best education possible. I was also an original co-sponsor of the ABLE Act that eventually became law in 2014. And I have continuously voted to reauthorize funding for the programs created through this bill and ensure that support for important necessities like housing, transportation, employment, and medical care remain accessible for individuals with disabilities. I want you all to know that I am standing in your corner, and I will always be your partner on the federal level. I will continue to listen to your concerns, and I will work to move things like pedestrian safety, voting accessibility, and digital access forward for individuals with visual impairment. Again, thank you for giving me the chance to address you all today. Each of you exhibit great initiative, and I look forward to what the future has in store for you all. I hope you have a great time this week.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably be able to do.
So I turn it back to you.
So I think we're
Ann,
coming
after
live out of the video.
Do you want? Oh,
We live.
All right. Thank you so much to Senator Capito for joining us here and helping us celebrate our 60th anniversary. And thank you for the advocacy work that you do on the federal level, not only for the Mountain State Council of the Blind and our members from West Virginia, but your tireless advocacy for things like the Cogswell-Macy Act to ensure that students who are blind, deafblind, and deaf and hard of hearing have access to a full toolbox of tools and resources to have a fair, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. And also, we'll talk more about this in a little bit, your leadership in ensuring that voting rights legislation did not disenfranchise voters with disabilities as well. All right, so Swath and I, we would like to begin with updating our members on our legislative imperatives for this year, 2021, also the first term of the 117th Congress. Our first legislative imperative, provides low vision device coverage for people with disabilities. This is an interesting item because for 8 years now, ACB has been leading the charge to provide coverage for low vision devices. This has been predominantly through the legislation that we have backed and supported over the past 8 years, the Medicare Demonstration of Coverage for Low Vision Devices Act. This bill would have created a 5-year pilot program providing coverage for low vision devices, and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services would have prepared an interim and final report about how this covering these devices has impacted people who are blind and people who need these devices. Interestingly enough, this year, there seems to be growing support for expanding Medicare coverage to include a vision benefit. If this is done as part of the budget reconciliation package, the $3.5 trillion package that the Senate is currently drafting, not only would this remove the eyeglass exemption from Medicare coverage, so it would cover eyeglasses, contacts, vision exams, but it would also remove the low vision device exclusion, which would provide a path forward for low vision devices to be covered as well. As we all know, these devices can be rather expensive. So whether it's tabletop video magnifiers, wearable technology, this could be an exciting opportunity to expand this coverage and make these devices more available for our members, whether they're our members who seek to age in place and remain independent, active members of their local community, or our members who are continuing education or seeking employment, and they may need some technology to help them with their daily lives and daily skills so that they can, again, be more productive. Like our mission says, strive to increase independence, economic opportunity, and quality of life for people who are blind and experiencing vision loss. So stay tuned. We hope to have more information on a potential path forward, not only for the demonstration of Medicare coverage for low vision devices, but potentially much, much more. Our second legislative imperative, and I'd like to turn it over to Swatha to provide an update on the Disability Access to Transportation Act.
Yeah, so our second imperative was the Disability Access to Transportation Act, so DATA. And this was introduced in the House by Representative Langevin from Rhode Island, and in the Senate by Senator Menendez from New Jersey. And what this bill would do is it would establish a one-stop paratransit pilot program, so where riders and paratransit riders can schedule a trip with an intermediate stop, and this would decrease the wait time and kind of make it more convenient for people's abilities to use paratransit because of the fact that they can schedule one ride instead of having to schedule two rides for each regular trip. So that is included. The bill also provides resources for paratransit agencies in underserved communities to improve services, improve the availability of services in communities that have been historically underserved by paratransit. And the bill also streamlines the complaint process. So people who want to submit complaints against paratransit agencies would be able to submit them by phone and email, in addition to regular mail to the Federal Transit Administration. So it makes it easier, especially for those who can't use paper. So yeah, the bill numbers for the House version is HR 1697, and for Senate is 2038. So S 2038. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Swatha. And again, there's been some recent communications. We want to thank our friends at the American Foundation for the Blind, AFB, who are big supporters and partners of ACB on promoting this legislation as well. They had a recent petition that has been shared broadly among ACB members, whether that's over our lists, and a big shout out to ACB Next Generation for sharing it over their lists as well. Let's sign that petition, get those numbers up, and let Congress know that this is an important provision that we'd like to see included in the surface transportation bill. It's already in there in the House. We want to make sure it gets in the Senate and that this gets across the finish line this year. Previously, I talked about the Cogswell-Macy Act. Just real quick, if folks would like to learn more about Cogswell-Macy Act, the bill numbers are HR 1595 and S 813, and our outgoing ACB First Vice President, Mark Reichert, has been a very active supporter and playing a lead role for ACB in supporting that important legislation. As you'll notice a theme here, whether it's legislation related to transportation, education, employment advocacy, you name it. Again, there's so many people to name. I'm running a risk of leaving someone out, so I just want to add this disclaimer here. We can't do it alone, and we are so thankful to have such an active advocacy community here on the national level, in our state and special interest affiliates, and our local members in their state and local jurisdictions as well. On that note, our third legislative imperative is core to ACB's Get Up and Get Moving campaign and the track of health and wellness programming that we have at this year's conference and convention. So for those who have seen the schedule, there are no shortage of health and wellness programming, whether that's how to get out and be active from the Transportation and Environmental Access Committees, the self-defense being put on by BPI, yoga with Leslie Spoon, but also ACB Diabetics in Action has a full slate of programming related to nutrition, diabetic advocacy, as well as fitness and exercise. And core to our health and wellness is our ability to independently and privately be able to use exercise and fitness equipment. And our third legislative imperative is the Exercise and Fitness for All Act. This bill was introduced in the 116th Congress last year by Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. I was fortunate to join Senator Duckworth on a panel last week on July 14th, hosted by the U.S. Access Board. And this panel was on accessible exercise and fitness. At that time, Senator Duckworth pledged to reintroduce the Exercise and Fitness for All Act later this month. And ACB, we here at the national office, as well as the advocacy committee as part of the Get Up and Get Moving campaign led by Sheila Styron, are standing by ready to share information and get the drumbeat rolling of our members actively supporting that legislation. This legislation would require the Department of Justice and the U.S. Access Board to create standards and guidelines for accessible exercise and fitness equipment. Currently, there are regulations in place for the physical premises of gyms, health centers, fitness facilities. So as somebody who is blind and visually impaired, we can get in the door, we can go down the hall, we can use the stairs or elevators. We have space to access the exercise and fitness equipment of our choice, whether that's a treadmill, elliptical, bike, recumbent bike, rowing machine. And then that's where the requirements end. We know that exercise and fitness equipment can be made accessible. ACB and our members, we worked with Peloton last year to bring the Google TalkBack screen reader to the Peloton Bike and Bike Plus. And we will continue our efforts with manufacturers directly, as well as exercise and fitness facility providers, not only to make the accessible equipment, but then to have that equipment available. We know this can be done. It already has been done, but it needs to be widespread and available for our members' use. This is why ACB and our members support the Exercise and Fitness for All Act, and we will champion its reintroduction later this month. So stay tuned, more to come on that front. Other topics related to advocacy, Swatha already touched on the Data Act, but there's a wide swath of advocacy being done in the transportation arena. And Swatha is going to share another bill that ACB is supporting. Swatha?
Yeah, so this year, Senator Duckworth from Illinois introduced the All Patients Accessibility Program Act, or ASAP Act. The bill number is S1680 in the Senate. And what this would do is it would provide competitive grants to states and cities to kind of update and make accessible their legacy systems. So including commuter rail, light rail, and rapid rail. So legacy systems include systems that were built before the passage of the ADA in 1990. So like Chicago, New York, I think Boston's one of them too. So this bill would kind of provide incentives for states and for cities to update to their systems to meet ADA and CAA standards for people with disabilities to access them and use them and just kind of improve their options. So, yes.
Thanks, Swatha. And Ray, I don't think it was any coincidence that you're the presiding officer for our advocacy update, because a lot of this activity is taking place in the state of Illinois.
I like the theme here. I like the theme here, guys.
And I forgot to mention that Rep. Shui Garcia and Rep. Marine from Illinois also introduced the House version too. So a lot of
Illinois rules, guys. Come on, you guys know that.
Well, I know we were all a little bit disappointed not to be in Schaumburg last year, so we're excited that we can bring our boots to the ground in Illinois. Ray, is that 2023 or 2024?
2023. We are looking so forward to that.
So in addition to upgrading these, as Swatha said, legacy, commuter and rail infrastructure, there are other transportation items, not all legislation, some regulatory and some other advocacy channels that ACB is utilizing, keeping it in the great state of Illinois and Chicago, as well as New York City. ACB and our local chapters are involved in lawsuits surrounding accessible pedestrian signals.
I am a plaintiff.
There you go. So this is an issue that is ongoing, has been going on for several years. The big news is that the courts have ruled in ACB's favor in the litigation against New York City. And we are progressing through implementation or agreement and then implementation of a remediation plan to increase the availability of accessible pedestrian signals. In short, wherever there is visual access to signals at an intersection, we believe, and the courts, and not only the courts, but the Department of Justice agree that there needs to be non-visual access, audible, vibral, tactile access for people with disabilities to that same information so that we can safely, securely, and independently navigate our cities, our home environment, and again, be active, independent members of our community. The Metro chapter of Chicago is involved in the litigation for the city of Chicago as well, where less than 1% of lighted intersections have accessible pedestrian signals. The Department of Justice filed in support of the ACB plaintiffs and said that the city of Chicago is violating the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we are very confident as this litigation proceeds, and we hope that this sends a message to other cities and municipalities around the country, and we will continue this advocacy effort.
Even though Chicago has promised them since like 2008.
That is often the case when it comes to accessibility and disability advocacy. So we here at ACB and our chapters and affiliates, it's our job to push back and to hold their feet to the fire. There's a lot of competing interests out there, but by using our voices, and using the strength of ACB and our affiliates and the broader community, we can help move these issues forward. And I think that's what we see is happening in New York and Chicago and soon elsewhere. In addition to accessible pedestrian signals and legal advocacy, we also had the opportunity this year, led by our Environmental Access Committee and Chris Bell, very active ACB member when it comes to advocacy, this time in drafting comments to the Federal Highway Administration on the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. We shared these comments with the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, as well, and we will continue to advocate for enhanced accessibility in the MUTCD, as well as the completion of the public rights-of-way accessibility guidelines, so that, again, we can more safely and independently be active and involved in our community. GDUI, Guide Dog Users Incorporated, and ACB's advocacy teams have been working closely on the new Department of Transportation final rule on traveling by air with service animals. Becky Davidson and Sheila Styron, Sarah Calhoun, and Melanie Brunson been great advocates in this regard. We had an awesome panel with representatives from 4 major airlines at the DC Leadership Conference. We are continuing conversations with the Department of Transportation as this policy is rolled out. If you or someone you know is being denied boarding or air travel due to inaccessible forms or any form of discriminatory treatment when you are booking a flight or traveling by air, be sure to file a complaint with the Department of Transportation. Let GDUI know and let the ACB advocacy team know so that we can have a record of that and we can advocate on your behalf. In addition to transportation access as we come out of the pandemic here, one thing that has been so vital to our ability to remain independent and active members of ACB is digital access and inclusion. If we didn't have accessible technology, we would not have seen the just amazing growth of the ACB community and the great work that Cindy and Belinda and Colby and others, including Nat Radcliffe, one of our original interns over the past year, and Anthony Corona have done to grow the ACB community, to have over 4,000 community events of the past year. And we will continue our work to enhance digital access and inclusion. We will support legislation and regulation for accessible websites, mobile apps, and online platforms, not when that legislation is brought by parties that just want to throw up hurdles and roadblocks and make it more difficult for people with disabilities to access accessible content, but when that legislation and when those regulations protect and enhance the rights of people with disability. We are having ongoing conversations with the broader blindness community, as well as Capitol Hill, to move legislation and regulations in this regard forward. And we will continue our advocacy work, whether that's to increase and enhance advanced communication services, wired and wireless phone service, accessible audio and video, online internet conferencing, as well as video platforms, video conferencing, but also technology out there in the world. So whether that's mobile apps for transportation, websites and mobile apps for ordering food, engaging with entertainment and media and communication channels, but also accessible kiosks. We don't want technology and technology that we know can be made accessible and must be made accessible to be a barrier to entertainment, to employment, to education, or to our health and wellness. So whether that's kiosks for registering for appointments or checking in at medical facilities, or the work that ACB Diabetics in Action is continuing to lead to ensure that durable medical equipment and the currently inaccessible user interfaces on insulin pumps are made accessible here in the future. Other advocacy efforts. Swatha, would you like to share the work that ACB is doing with the Stop the Wait Coalition?
Yeah, so we are part of the Stop the Wait Coalition. And what we're doing is we're working on a way to provide a choice or option for SSDI beneficiaries or Social Security disability income beneficiaries to get their benefits immediately after being approved. So with this, beneficiaries have a option after getting approved to have their benefits delivered immediately at a reduced rate. So or have their benefits delivered after a 5-month waiting period to at the original rate that it would have been otherwise. So this method keeps it cost neutral and provides a choice for those that want it. We are working with the with community and with coalition to have this included in the infrastructure package that's going to pass soon this year at least. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Swatha. And when we first brought this proposal to our ACB Advocacy Services Committee, the thing we heard that stood out to them was the choice. Giving people with disabilities the choice to choose how they receive the benefit that they have earned, whether they are, have the ability to wait 5 months and receive the full amount, or receive a slightly lower amount, but receive it instantly without the waiting period. So we realized that ideally, in an ideal world, we would just eliminate the waiting period altogether. There's a very large price tag that comes with that proposal that the sense we have from the coalition and from Congress is that would not be tenable. So we found this compromise proposal, and we're excited that we can, if passed, that we can bring choice and agency to our members in the broader community so that they can choose the manner that works for them to receive their SSDI benefit. So more on that to come as well. The final issue hasn't been talked about at all over the past year, and certainly not during this year's conference and convention, and that is voting. So ACB has been at the forefront of voting advocacy over the past year. Before the pandemic started, we were excited that West Virginia unanimously passed legislation SB 94 through the House and Senate and signed by the governor to expand access to accessible remote voting for people with disabilities, a fully electronic system where you could have your ballot delivered, mark it, and return it. No fumbling with paper, no having to figure out where to sign your name, fold the ballot, mail it back, or travel to a drop box. Then the pandemic hit and our world's got a little bit turned upside down. States started passing emergency executive orders, and disability was not always at front of mind. But due to the work of ACB, the National Coalition for Accessible Voting, and all of our advocates around the country, we made great strides, raising the profile of disability rights and accessible voting. Through these efforts, 5 states last year, whether it was by passing legislation, administrative and regulatory changes that they had the power to do depending on their own state, or legal advocacy, like in Massachusetts and Florida and North Carolina and Virginia and Indiana, that our affiliates were involved in. 5 states last year allowed voters with disabilities to access to fully electronic remote accessible voting. We didn't have to expose ourselves to the pandemic in Maine and Massachusetts, Delaware, North Carolina, and West Virginia. We could vote from home on the assistive technology of our choice. And we didn't have to worry about printing a paper ballot, checking the small standard print, mailing it in, and trusting that voting officials transferred that from that printed ballot onto the durable paper ballot. We were able to cast our votes privately and independently and do so securely as well and accessibly. Those states are serving as the gold standard. You know, there's certainly more that can be done on the way it's being implemented, and the Bay State Council, the North Carolina Council, the Mountain State Council, and others are continuing great advocacy work in this regard. But there's been progress made elsewhere, whether that's ACB of New York, ACB of Virginia, Illinois. Again, Ray, you all are tireless advocates holding your members of the state legislature and your Secretary of State's office accountable. And also the great work of the Kentucky Council of the Blind to work with their Secretary of State and Governor's office to move this issue forward. Not all states are allowing for electronic return of the ballot, but I think it's important to remember where we came from. And that was either having a paper ballot mailed to us or needing to navigate an inaccessible system to request an inaccessible paper ballot. So in the states that are providing an electronic delivery and marking, but we still need to print and mail the ballot in, that's still an improvement on where we were, and our advocacy efforts will continue going forward. And as Senator Capito said, and I just want to thank her again for her leadership, because ACB was one of the few disability rights organizations to oppose HR 1 and S1, the For the People Act, which would have required a durable paper ballot mandate and would have eliminated access to electronic ballot return for people with disabilities. Through the leadership of Senator Capito, we were able to get that amended and improve the language of the For the People Act. This bill did not pass the Senate, and we still certainly think that there's more work that needs to be done, but ACB will hold fast that legislation intended to increase voter participation and voting rights must increase and enhance the rights of voters with disabilities as well. So folks, this is a brief overview of the advocacy work that we've been doing on your behalf and at the behest of our board and committees and affiliates over the past year and here in 2021. If you would like to bring an advocacy issue to our attention, please reach out to us at advocacy@acb.org. And as Senator Capito said, this is our 60th anniversary. If you would like to help support our advocacy efforts this year and in the future, please visit the acb.org website and click that donate button for our 60 for 60 campaign, because when you support ACB and you support us in our 60 for 60 campaign, that has a direct impact on our ability to provide advocacy services, not only for ACB, our members and affiliates, but the broader community as a whole. You can always stay in touch with us by listening on ACB Media or your favorite podcast player, the ACB Advocacy Update. And Swatha, just like we finish the podcast each week, what do we always say?
Keep advocating.
Thanks, ACB.
And thank you, Clark and Swatha, for a great presentation this morning or this afternoon.
Ray, this is Dan Spoon. May I chime in for a question for Clark and Swatha? Would that be okay?
Where are we at on time?
I think we're okay.
We're at, we're 56, and there has been a change in the agenda, which I will announce in a minute. But how could I refuse the president? Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Ray. First, I just want to announce to all of our members that the vote now for the individual voting will be closing in now 19 minutes at 1:15 Eastern. So if you haven't cast your ballot yet, Clark was just talking about accessible voting, and we sure have that at American Council of the Blind. So please get your vote in for either Connie or Doug. Those elections will be closing at 1:15 today. And then Clark, my question to you, you were speaking a little bit of the Get Up and Get Moving campaign, and fantastic presentation there on Saturday night. And then we had a wonderful presentation last night on audio description with some of the leading, media streaming services in our country. And I thought it was very interesting that Carl Richardson very delicately asked the question to Sarah from Apple about Fitness Plus and perhaps the role Apple could play in making more fitness equipment and apps accessible. And I keep feeling there's a huge role in the Get Up and Get Moving campaign and advocacy related to that our poor corporate partners could be allies in. Do you see that as a big significant area for us to advocate, not only with our legislators and our regulatory agencies, but also with our corporate partners?
Dan, there is no question that partners will be key to the success of the Get Up and Get Moving campaign and bringing broader accessibility to health and wellness. So Tony Stevens here on ACB staff, as well as Tom Tobin, the new president of ACB Diabetics in Action, as well as the steering committee chair for the Get Up and Get Moving campaign. They've established 3 subcommittees on public awareness, advocacy, and partnerships. Corporate partners, they kind of fall into all 3 buckets, really. They've got such tremendous reach for public awareness. They have the capacity and the capability to improve accessibility, not only of equipment, but in their offerings. At last year's convention, someone you might know, Dan, Leslie Spoon, joined me on an accessible fitness and exercise panel, and she talked about the importance of clear and instructive language when leading workouts. And that's something that could certainly be improved upon and enhanced in virtual fitness offerings. That's one aspect of it. So having instructors use more clear and descriptive language, but there might be an opportunity to provide audio description for those virtual classes, providing some verbal information on those key visual elements, as Joel Snyder so eloquently said earlier today and during many sessions here earlier in this convention. We also want to make sure that in person, because we will be returning to in-person gyms and facilities in classes, and we want to make sure that folks are receiving the in-person care and instruction that they need to be safe and informed so that they can take back control of their health and wellness as we get up and get moving here after the pandemic.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Clark, for that answer. And I just hope that part of access to facilities is also going to make sure that things like lockers are accessible, because in some places like the club I go to, they put in these combination locks that I can't use. And so that's definitely something that also needs to be considered as part of this. So anyway, okay. So thank you, Clark and Swatha, for that great presentation. Your closing code, if you're getting the CECs for this, is 77196. Once again, that code is 77196. And so there we go. Okay, let me make an announcement about the rest of the session today. So as Dan mentioned, you have just a few minutes to cast your individual vote. That will close at 1:15 Eastern. So 14 minutes by my watch that you have to do that. We're going to do the scholarship presentations coming up in just a minute. And then because of timing and things like that, we're going to move the audio description portion of the program to later on in this week's agenda, so that we can get you out of here and get you to other sessions that you may be attending. So that will be, watch your emails and other communications. We'll let you know when we're going to do that. So now it gives me a great pleasure to bring on the scholarship committee to hear from some more of our bright young scholarship winners of the future of ACB, and hear what they're doing. And before I introduce the presenters, I'm going to give you, there's a code for this. The opening code is 51985. Again, that opening CEC code for this session is 51985. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to turn the podium over to the scholarship committee today, Kathy Schmidt-Whitaker and Michael Gravitt. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Kathy Schmidt-Whitaker, and I'm subcommittee chair for the Engineering, Science, and Technology Committee. My co-committee members are Gilly Presley and Mike Gravitt. Today, I'm excited to be introducing Matthew Turner from Garden City, Idaho. Matt may be a familiar name to you, as he has been receiving scholarships for the past several years as an undergraduate student.
So in the fall of 2021, I'll be pursuing a master's degree also in computer science, just like my undergrad, and also at MIT. So I'll be rolling over some of those undergrad credits and continuing my studies with the master's.
Can you share why you selected this major?
It really happened my freshman year as I started taking more classes in computer science and math, and I realized I really had a passion for data science. And I was able to use that to solve real world problems at firms like HP and BlackRock, where at HP I did a printer cost prediction model for them so they could make better decisions about how to allocate their printers among their customers. And so for me, it's really about using data science in order to help make better decisions and improve the lives of people around the world.
That holistic perspective of data science, computer science, engineering, it's wonderful how you're integrating all those fields together. Matt, can you share with us what is your greatest accomplishment thus far in your life?
Honestly, I'm very proud of recently I started TAing a class called 6UAT, which is an oral communications class. And when I came into this class as a student, I was really nervous and it was very uncomfortable for me to have to give presentations. And then I ended up improving a lot over the course of the semester. And now I'm teaching it. And it's really pushed me and driven me in ways to improve as a speaker and in my own confidence and presentation abilities. And also, I think it demonstrates leadership in how I interact with the students and encourage them to be the best presenters they can be. So that's been the newest thing that I've added to my life recently, and I've really enjoyed it. And I think it's really grown me a lot.
Fabulous. You stepped out of your comfort zone and had the courage to continue to grow and prosper as a leader and a learner. And good luck as you pursue your master's program in the fall.
Thank you.
I'm excited to introduce Elizabeth Corso from Newmarket, New Hampshire. She is our QUALS scholarship winner. Liza, could you please share what is your major of study and where will you be attending in the fall?
I will be attending Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'll be studying nutrition sciences.
Tennessee is quite far from New Hampshire. Can you share how you decided on your field of study?
I have always been interested in sciences and learning about how the body works. And I knew I wanted to go into a career where I would be able to help people every day And as an athlete, I've learned so much about how nutrition is very important to staying healthy and for fueling your body. And so I want to be able to help other people learn how to properly fuel their body.
Can you share with us what your greatest accomplishment is?
So I would say that some of my accomplishments have come through running, whether that is winning a state championship or setting school records. But I think my greatest accomplishment would be how I've been able to show other people through my running that even if you're facing a challenge, like for me being legally blind, you can still overcome them. And with hard work and dedication, you can put your mind to whatever. And I think that my running has been able to show that and help inspire people with that.
You definitely have inspired others with
Thank
your running.
you.
You're welcome. And we're excited that you're a ACB scholarship winner this year, and you will continue to motivate and inspire others in your school and education process. Good luck as you pursue your school at Lipscomb University this fall as an entering freshman. Congratulations on receiving an ACB scholarship once again.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Mike Gravitt. I have the pleasure of serving on the subcommittee with Kathy and Gilly. I have 3 wonderful scholarship winners I'm going to be introducing to you today. The first is Bhavya Shah, who is from Stanford, California, originally from India. Very impressive person that we really enjoyed getting to know, has overcome a lot of challenges since 2012 when he lost his vision. And I'm sure you're going to really enjoy getting to know him a little bit more. So here we go.
Hello, my name is Bhavya Shah, and I am originally from Mumbai, India, and I'm currently in Edgewater, New Jersey, and I attend school at Stanford University. I am primarily studying discrete mathematics and theoretical computer science, and will major in either CS or math or a combination of both. The reason why this field of study attracted me is because of how evasive and elusive mathematical and theoretical computer science problems are, how impossibly hard they seem at the outset, but as you work your way through it and you get closer and closer to the solution, the feeling of jubilation is just something that I haven't quite gotten bored of. And it's also of bonus value that mathematics and computer science is so pervasively useful in that every field of study requires some expertise in that. So the fact that I can cross-apply my skills is also something I'm looking forward to leverage. It's hard to say what your most significant accomplishment is. One of them truly, genuinely is winning the ACB scholarship. And I'm so grateful to have been selected as a recipient from what I'm sure was a broad and equally qualified pool of applicants. Just getting to know the organization and also participating in the convention, getting to meet the other recipients is an opportunity that I'm extraordinarily thankful for. So thank you so much to the people who reviewed my application, on the committee who interviewed me, and just folks at ACB for making this possible. But other than that, perhaps one thing that might be worth noting is my debating ploys. This all started really in 2017. I'd been doing public speaking for a few years in high school, some poetry recitation and prepared speeches and Model United Nations conferences. And I thought I was doing sort of well, and I wanted to take this to the next level. And I thought debate might be interesting to explore, but there was no debate team at my school. So I went on to Google one fine day and looked up if there was some Indian national debate team. India is where I come from. I moved to California only this March. And lo and behold, there was an Indian national debate team. It had its trials coming up in 2 months from then, and the registration deadline was soon. So I cobbled together 2 fellow classmates to form a team of 3 so that we could take part, and also reached out to my school's English teacher to be our teacher coordinator. We went to the trials that year. I made it past the regionals, but didn't quite make it all the way. I got knocked out, but I did have fun. I genuinely enjoyed this activity and I wanted to give it another go. So I continued my schooling, the same old exploring maths and science and all of that fun stuff. And I decided to take another crack at it next year. And I participated again with 2 new teammates, and I made it past the zonal round and through the national round. And somehow I made it to the national team. Now, the story could stop there. And I think that for me was quite a feat and satisfactory moment. But really, the reason why we had been selected on the national team was for India to be represented at the World Championship of Debating. The World Schools Debating Championship in 2019 took place in July in Bangkok, Thailand, and hosted 64 national teams. It was after hundreds of debates on motions ranging from politics to religion to international relations to economics to sociology to feminism to literally anything under the sun, after researching Wikipedia and news articles to discover information to become generally knowledgeable on those topics, and also debating our trainers and coaches who had flown in from the UK, the US, Canada, and elsewhere. It was finally time in July that we landed in Bangkok. And I should be honest here, I did not think there was a clear path to success. Blind students didn't really have any precedent of even participating at the World Championships in debating. And I think it was an anomaly that I was even there. But somehow we took it around at a time. The 5 of us, I had 4 incredible teammates, all of whom were sighted. And we made it through round after round against teams like England and Peru and Argentina and Denmark and whatnot, and somehow won all 8 preliminary rounds, breaking first at the top of the charts. So it was then the elimination rounds. Somehow again, we beat Bangladesh in the octofinals and then Pakistan in the quarterfinals on 5-0, and China, the defending champions, in the semifinals on a 7-0. And the grand finals also, we were fortunate to be able to have beaten a fantastic team, Canada, on a 9-0 decision. And we were the first Indian team to have won the World Championship in debating. I think right in that moment, I was just happy to have gotten through this and done justice to the immense amount of effort that everybody had put into us, our trainers, coaches, and otherwise. But I think looking at it in retrospect and just having gotten the opportunity to apply what I learned in debating, the concepts of strategy and self-advocacy and clear communication in real life scenarios, is something that just makes me reminiscent of how fun, how empowering, and how enriching the activity of debating has been to me. I was fortunate to reach the pinnacle of success in it, but I think the experience of competing in it, learning to be better at it, has been so incredibly applicable in all walks of life for me.
All right, Bhavya, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. And now I would like to introduce our next winner, Isaac Hyman, who is from Mukilteo, Washington. He has a lot of wonderful community involvement that impressed us quite a bit. He's done everything from mentoring others to being a mentor, taking full advantage of everything in his community and his church, and definitely the type of person we want to get involved with ACB. So let's get to know Isaac a little bit.
My name is Isaac Hyman, and I am so grateful to be selected as an ACB scholarship recipient. This award means so much to me, and it is such an honor. I am from Mukilteo, Washington, and I'm going to school at Western Washington University. I'll be a senior next year, and I'll be earning my degree in behavioral neuroscience, and I am also on the pre-med track. I chose my field of study because of some life circumstances that came my way, and I've had some medical conditions, and that really inspired me to go into the field of medicine. And by working with so many amazing people in the medical field and learning about their career, I just thought like this would be an amazing route to move into myself, so I can help other people who who have found themselves in difficult medical conditions and situations, and I can help them. My greatest accomplishment stems out of the pandemic we've gone through this last year and a half. And looking back on it, I'm proud that I have been able to maintain and also create more friendships during this time. I've been at home, not at school during this last year and a half, and it's been, I feel proud that I have met new people through clubs virtually and just made some really special connections. So I am very proud of that, and I'm excited to expand on these connections as I return to school in person in the fall.
All right, Isaac, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. And I'm sure everyone enjoyed getting to know you as well. Next, I would like to introduce a young lady, Sarah Panek from Wilmington, Delaware, who's currently going to school in California. She's very diverse, does everything from rowing to playing the violin, and has overcome a lot of challenges herself by having to attend school from one coast to another, and just someone we really enjoyed getting to know, and I'm sure you will as well. So let's get to know Sarah a little bit.
Hi, my name is Sarah Panek. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm currently attending the University of Southern California. My major right now is linguistics and cognitive science, and I chose this major because I've always been really interested by foreign languages and just like the science of language in general. And I didn't realize until like halfway through my freshman year that that was something I could actually study. But once I did realize that was a major I could actually like get a degree in, I was so excited to switch, and I've been in that major for a year and a half now. And it's very, very interesting. I'm very happy with my decision. And then for my greatest accomplishment to date, I mean, I guess this is kind of simple or basic or whatever, but I am really proud of everything I've been able to achieve academically. I have had a 4.0 since middle school. I graduated as valedictorian. I have had professors tell me that I've written some of the best essays they've ever read. And that's a really just something I'm really proud of myself for, because I was able to do all of that all while still having like a part-time job, having a really rigorous sports schedule. And I think all of that combined would be impressive for anyone, but I was dealing with it on top of having a degenerative disease and having to navigate the academic world with all of that. So I'm just really proud of all that I've been able to accomplish while dealing with a condition like this.
All right. Thank you, Scholarship Committee, and especially thank you to our scholarship winners for some wonderful presentations. Boy, I'll tell you, I always say this, future is certainly bright here in ACB. Let me give you your closing code. That closing code is 91599. That closing CEC code again, 91599. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure for me to be able to preside for part of the morning this morning with you all. I thank you for giving me that opportunity, and I wish all of you a wonderful convention. And now I'm going to send it from Springfield, Illinois, back down to Orlando, Florida, to our president, Dan Spoon. Take it away, Dan.
Thank you so much, Ray. A wonderful, wonderful day of presenting. Really some wonderful scholarship winners and great content on advocacy and also good maps. Just really, really wonderful programming. Right now, we are going to take a little over a 5-7 minute break here until 1:25. So give everybody a second to stretch their legs. At 1:25, we will be back we'll be back with Nancy Marks Becker, our supervisor of elections, to announce the results of our second board of directors candidates position between Doug Powell and Connie Sims. So everybody, see you back in about 5 to 7 minutes at 1:25 Eastern. That's 10:25 on the West Coast and 7:25 in Hawaii. So look forward to seeing everybody back in just a few minutes with the results of our elections and then our roll call for our other candidate nominations. Thank you so much. Welcome back, American Council of the Blind. I hope you all enjoyed that long, relaxing break. Just kidding, but hopefully you did have a chance just to stretch your legs and you know, get maybe a quick drink to quench your thirst here as we now move on to really a very kind of important part of our day, which is really the announcements of our candidate election for today. Just to remind everybody, today's contested election was for our second American Council of Blind Board of Directors seat, and it was between Doug Powell, who was nominated from the nominating committee from Falls Church, and the opponent was Connie Sims, not coming off the floor as a nominee from Sioux Falls. So again, we had Doug Powell versus Connie Sims. And I'm now going to turn it over to Nancy Marks Becker, our supervisor of elections, to give us the results of this election. She'll give us the total results, then the results by the individual vote, and the results by the affiliate vote. So Nancy?
Okay, so this election between the affiliate count and the individual vote, we had 982 votes during this election. Doug Powell, 497 1/2. Connie Sims, 484 1/2. For the total, Doug Powell received 50.7% of the vote, and Connie Sims received 49.3%. For the individual vote, where there was 611 people who voted, 311 or 50.9% voted for Doug Powell, 300 or 49.1% voted for Connie Sims. For the affiliate vote, the count on that was 371. 186.5 or 50.3% voted for Doug Powell. 184 1/2 or 49.7% voted for Connie Sims. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Nancy. What an amazingly close election. And congratulations to Doug Powell, who will now be serving his second term on the ACB Board of Directors. We will hear from Doug tomorrow morning to address the membership for the results of his election, as well as perhaps Connie Sims, depending on how things move along today. So with that said, we are now going to turn the broadcast over briefly for the next 5 to 7 minutes to David Trott, our ACB treasurer, and Janet Dickelman, our ACB convention coordinator, to take you through announcements and some door prizes. And then you'll see Nancy and I over on the other side as we continue with the candidates' nominations for our board of directors and board of publications positions. So thank you so much. And David and Janet, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Rick. And Dan and Rick or Dan, I'll let David go first with his, and then when you get settled over there, just let us know, and I can stop my announcements at any time.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
So if you can see what. All right, Mr. David Trott with some great announcements and fundraising information.
Yep. If I could catch my breath after that great election.
Wow,
that's
was
truly
really
democracy
close.
in action. This is great. It was. Both candidates did a great job.
Yes, they did.
And was really exciting. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we've got going on, folks. We still have the walk going on. We're not at our goal yet. We're only at about 85%. So y'all still need to help us out if you can. No pressure. Just know where we are. Great event coming up today. Y'all can join me here if you could get here for some pizza and beer as we listen to the ACB Annual Auction tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We look forward to it. Leslie called me all excited the other day after the appetizer auction, and I'll save what we raised for her when you hear from her Thursday. But it was a great auction, and we certainly appreciate your participation. Don't forget, we still have some Braille form raffle tickets. Give you the opportunity to have a chance at winning $5,000, $1,000, or $500. Again, that number in the Minneapolis office is 612-332-3242. And there again, that's the Braille form raffle. We do this once a year. And we raised over $23,000 last year, and we'd like to see a record year this year. And we're getting close. And last but not least, we're going to give some money away, $120 in a gift card a day to the winner of the MMS drawing. And today's winner is drum roll, please.
Dun, 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 dun.
Randy. Go, Janet. You know the last name.
I pronounced it for you before. Randy Borboom.
Borboom. Okay. Miss Randy, we're excited for you. You won a $120 gift card today.
She's
That's
from
MMS.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh, Lord, if I'd have known that, would have went to another number. Now,
Yeah,
you guys that win these things can thank Google, because we have Google do our number drawing every day, and it's the number you're on the MMS spreadsheet. So we couldn't figure out a way to do it any fair. And so if you'd like to join MMS or add to your donation every month, this will entitle you to a chance not only at these daily prizes, but our grand prizes of a $500 Visa gift card. And the second one will be a Sonos Roam. That is the newest Sonos speaker. It's an excellent little speaker that you can carry anywhere. It is water resistant, not waterproof, but it is a great little speaker. It's their newest line. And the way to do that is email askacbmms@gmail.com. That's askacbmms@gmail.com. Or you can call 202-743-0755. There again, that's 202-743-0755. You will get a recorded message there. Please answer and leave your information, and we will call you back. And we really appreciate all you guys do every year to make our fundraisers a success. And this year is no exception. So let's have a record-breaking auction tonight. Thanks so much, Janet. I'm going to leave it with you, hon.
All right. Thank you. And yes, the auction tonight, as David said, the Diamond Jubilee auction for ACB's 60th birthday. And the auction will be on tonight, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. You do not need a bidder number to bid. You just come into the Zoom room. When your item is up, you raise your hand. Something you want to bid on is available. You raise your hand. You will be acknowledged. You will stay unmuted during your bidding, so you will be able to bid. All convention registrants are able to bid for the auction. I believe if you are not registered for the convention, there are alternate ways that you can bid by, so check that out, but we hope you're all registered for the convention. There is still registration available for the convention if you'd like to register and have not yet and get the daily Zoom links and be eligible for door prizes. You still have the opportunity to do that by going to members.acb.org and registering, or calling the Minneapolis office at 612-332-3242. I'm going to do a couple of door prizes, and then I'll check and see if they are ready for us. And if not, I'll do a couple of announcements. So let's do a couple of door prizes. Our first door prize winner today is Dan Day from Altamonte Springs, Florida. And many of you remember Dan, who used to came to many of our conventions with the beacons, the audible beacons for wayfinding. And that was wonderful. I called him Dan the Beacon Man. Anyway, Dan gets $25 from California Council of the Blind. Our next door prize recipient is Maria Christic. And Maria is from Albany, New York. And Maria receives $25 from Missouri Council of the Blind, from MCB. Our next door prize winner is Susan Masery. And Susan Masery is in Seattle, Washington. And she receives a $25 Amazon gift certificate from Florida Council of the Blind. I'll do one more and then I'll check and see where things are with the other room. We have Julie Miller, and Julie Miller is from Shoreline, Washington, and she receives one of the wonderful I Heart ACB hoodies donated by ACB of New York, and that has the word I, and then a heart and ACB, and we'll reach out to her about the various she has color and size preference on that. So we will be reaching out to her. Do we know if everyone's in position yet?
Yes, we do, Janet.
All right.
We are. We're
then
ready.
I will go away and listen to the election results. Thank you.
Hello, ACB, and welcome back to our 2021 candidates elections. We just had the final results of our contest between Doug Powell and Connie Sims, extremely close, and congratulations, Doug. It is now time for us to move on for our third position on the ACB Board of Directors. That name that was placed in nomination is Kenneth Simeon Sr., retired manager of AT&T from Beaumont, Texas. So before we start nominations, I'm going to ask Nancy, have all hands been lowered in the Zoom room?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. All hands are lowered, Dan.
All right. Hearing and confirming that all hands are lowered, we will now 3 times ask for nominations for the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor for the position of ACB Board of Directors? For the second time, are there any nominations from the floor for ACB Board of Directors? And for the third and final time, are there any nominations from the floor for the third ACB, for the third time for the ACB Board of Directors position? Nancy, have any hands been raised?
There are no hands raised from the floor, Dan.
Hearing and seeing that no hands have been raised, I would like to announce by acclamation that Kenneth Simeon Sr. from Beaumont, Texas has been elected for his first term to the ACB Board of Directors. Congratulations, Kenneth. All right, it's now time for our fourth position for the ACB Board of Directors. The nominating committee has placed in nomination Donna Brown, retired teacher and technology specialist from Romney, West Virginia. So I will ask Nancy, have all hands been lowered in the Zoom room?
All hands are lowered, Dan.
Thank you, Nancy. Hearing and seeing that all hands are lowered, I will now call the nomination 3 times for our fourth ACB Board of Directors position. For the first time, are there any nominations from the floor for the position of ACB Board of Directors? For the second time, are there any nominations from the floor for the position of ACB Board of Directors? And for the third and final time, are there any nominations from the floor for the position of ACB Board of Directors? Nancy, have any hands been raised?
Dan, I do not see any hands raised.
Thank you, Nancy. Seeing and hearing that no hands have been raised, I would like to announce by acclamation that Donna Brown has been elected for her first full term as ACB Board of Director. Congratulations, Donna. Next, our nominating committee has placed in nomination for the 5th position of ACB Board of Directors the name of Chris Bell, retired attorney from Pittsboro, North Carolina. Nancy, I would ask, are all hands lowered in the Zoom room?
All hands are lowered, Dan.
Hearing and seeing that all hands are lowered, for the first of 3 times, I would like to ask for nominations from the floor for the position of ACB Board of Directors?
I see a hand.
All right, Nancy has seen a hand. Could we please call on that hand that has been raised?
Anthony Corona.
Hi there, Dan.
Hello, Anthony.
Well, first off, congratulations to Jeff and Kenneth, Donna, and Doug. I would like to respectfully resubmit Connie Sims, retired massage practitioner and health advocate from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
All right. Thank you, Anthony. So the name of Connie Sims, occupation, retired medical massage practitioner and health advocate from Sioux Falls, South Dakota's name has been put in nomination. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nancy, if you could please lower Anthony's hands.
I just did that.
All right. Are all hands lowered?
Yes, Dan.
All right.
All hands are lowered.
All right. Seeing and hearing that all hands are lowered, for the second time, I will ask, are there any nominations from the floor for our fifth position on the ACB Board of Directors? And for the third and final time, are there any nominations from the floor for the position of ACB Board of Directors? Nancy, have any additional hands been raised?
Dan, no additional hands have been raised.
Thank you, Nancy. Seeing and hearing that no hands have been raised, I will confirm that we have a contested election for the fifth board seat eligible for the ACB Board of Directors between Chris Bell, retired attorney from Pittsboro, North Carolina, and Connie Sims, retired medical massage practitioner and health advocate from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The candidates will be asked to identify their speakers and they will receive invites. Those speeches will take place tomorrow morning. For all the winning candidates for today, they will have an opportunity to address the membership in the morning before our candidate speeches. Good luck to both candidates. And this concludes the candidate roll call for today. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
All right, at this point in time, I want to thank everybody for a wonderful day in the general session. Special thanks to Ray Campbell, Second Vice President, for being our presiding officer today. A friendly reminder that our primetime event this evening will be the Diamond Jubilee Auction, which will be at 7 o'clock. Everybody come early, stay late, and do lots of wonderful bidding. Should be an exciting evening. Please enjoy your wonderful breakout sessions throughout today. Following this general session, we will have a Connect show with our Director of Development and Communications, Tony Stevens, as well as our ACB Media Broadcast Program Manager, Debbie Hazelton. So please stay tuned for that, for all kinds of wonderful announcements, advice, the Mini Mall Minute, and they'll get you caught up on all the latest happenings inside of ACB. And for now, this general session of the ACB 2021 Conference and Convention stands adjourned till tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thank you all and have a wonderful Tuesday.